on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Viall Files Reality Recap Edition. I'm your host, Nick. What is going on, everybody? We have a very exciting week.
Crazy week.
We have a very
It's
exciting
crazy.
week. It starts off, well, tonight, for those listening, Kathy Hilton's Christmas party.
Kathy Hilton's Christmas party, which last year that we went I was very pregnant, and Miriam Crosby was like, "You're having a boy," and Nick was like, "You're close." And that was my one interaction with Mary. Who else did we bump? That's where I met Paige Peck.
That's where I met Paige Peck.
Of course,
Yes.
became besties with Paige.
Yes. Crystal.
Crystal.
We
Yes, we met Crystal.
We
and
met
Rob.
Crystal there. I had
Wow.
met Crystal before that, but
Wasn't Kyle there?
Kyle was there.
I think they're all
I
kind of there.
think,
Yeah,
yeah.
It's last year it was a star-studded reality TV cast for sure,
Well,
and
I
Kathy
sure
Hilton
hope
had
so.
had brought in real snow.
Can't wait to circle back on that.
Yeah, we'll see if she has
one.
real snow again.
I'm excited for all the people that you're going to see that like you maybe were there last year that you didn't recognize. Now you guys are just big Bravo people. It's like, oh shit,
Yeah.
wall to wall.
I know.
Do you think Teddy Mellingham's gonna be there?
Yes.
Now that she's living with Kyle.
Ooh.
Last year she was She was interviewing on the red carpet.
She was.
Yeah.
They made her work
yes.
it.
I don't think they made her work it.
I think
Teddy,
it was like I would love to I think she wants to
Teddy's always
continue
working.
her like
Hosting.
She
yes,
is.
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, Teddy's always
She's
Teddy's
clocked
always
in.
on.
Yeah.
She's always on. Yeah, she's living with Kyle now.
In the glam room. So I've heard.
What do you mean? The Grand?
The glam.
Glam
Kyle's got like a huge
room.
upstairs glam room, and apparently it's to die
Who
for.
announces? Or how did this?
Teddy did.
Teddy announces.
Mhm.
She's like, I moved in with Kyle.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Has Kyle said anything?
No. Not. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm.
I went to the Lakers family holiday party this past weekend with Chambliss, and Crystal was there with her husband. And so I was like, wow, Crystal, you've gotten me diamonds. Now we're at a Lakers holiday family party, and there's like Hermes bracelets and Smeg appliances.
Natalie's part of the
and
Lakers family.
Wow.
I am part of the Lakers family.
They're just giving away Hermes bracelets
They
and
were.
Smeg products.
Yes, they were.
Did
Are
you
you
get
gonna-
any?
Yes, I did.
Are you gonna babysit
Yes, of
Bronny?
course. We went to the game
Yeah.
after we sat in a suite. I don't think I'll be going back.
No.
LeBron was hurt, so he was not playing. Bronny was very comfortable on the bench.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
was wearing like his full-on tracksuit.
If
It
Dad's
was like
hurt, Bronny doesn't get in. Is that how it
I don't
is? Does
know.
that work?
It was like the
Yeah.
only they're
There's
all
no
children.
like take your kid to
now.
work day.
Yeah.
Like the only person I recognized was Anthony Davis, and the
Yeah.
rest of them, I'm like, who are these children?
Gotta go to a Sparks game.
I don't know who that is.
The Los Angeles Sparks, the WNBA.
Hey, you gotta
team.
support your
Oh
ladies.
yes,
Yeah.
of
sorry.
course.
We'll
The
come back in
W-
May. We'll come back in May.
Okay. But yeah, so we stayed for the first half, and then we were like, Nick, where are you? We're getting the hell out of here.
Then we went to Joey's, a little Dance with the Stars celebration.
Oh,
Yeah.
cute. How was
It was
that?
Jenna's little celebratory. It was
Yeah.
cute. It was on a rooftop.
EPLP,
Okay.
for those of you who don't know.
Yeah.
Outdoor little venue. Rooftop.
Mhm. I chatted with Tanner from Charity Season,
Ah, yes.
who was just seen with Julianne Hough
Oh.
on a date,
Ooh.
leaving the Sportsman's Lodge.
Famously thinks we hate him.
Yes, but we did clear the air.
He still, he still hasn't let it go.
Is this the Tanner that was also rumored to be dating Brittany Cartwright?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
He's really making the reality. He's really.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, Julianne Hough is huge.
Which
She's a
one's
big deal.
Julianne Hough?
Which one is Julianne
Uh,
Hough?
She's one
Get
of the
out.
ones I
Footloose?
Mary.
Dancing with the
Footloose,
Stars.
Dancing with the-
She's a very
Derek
good dancer.
and Julianne Hough.
Short blonde hair.
not.
Um,
I think I get Julianne Hough. I get confused with like Julianne Moore. There's like a lot of
Julianne
I know
Moore.
they're not similar, but it's like you know how like Holly Hunter, Helen Hunt, and Jodie Foster are all three different people, but aren't.
Are they? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
Mm.
that, and I think Julianne Hough like gets in that with someone else with me, and I
Okay.
can't remember. But if I
How
saw a
does
picture
Helen
of her,
Hunt fit into the equation
Okay.
with Jodie Foster
Oh,
and
I have a whole theory. It's all variants of Jodie Foster. So Jodie Foster is like the gay one. And then you have Helen Hunt, which is like the straight man's version of Jodie Foster. And then Holly Hunter, which is like the slay version.
Holly
Oh.
Hunter?
Holly
Which one's
Hunter.
Holly Hunter.
She's Elastigirl. She is in broadcast news. Very incredible in broadcast news. She has that
Mm.
voice.
Holly Hunter.
She has that voice.
Oh, Holly Hunter.
Holly Hunter.
What? No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh? They don't look anything
Holly
like-
Hunter.
No,
But
she
if you
looks,
look at Holly Hunter, Helen Hunt, and Jodie Foster, they're all auditioning for the same roles in the 90s.
Oh, that I believe.
And
Yeah.
it's just crazy that there were three of them, and now there's like no one to lead these movies anymore. Anyway,
Interesting.
Mary.
Oh,
I
they
think
all-
about
they
this.
kind of give the same energy.
Oh, Julianne
Julianne
Hough.
Hough.
Okay, Sierra just showed me a picture
Yes,
of Julianne Hough.
Julianne
I do.
Hough. So
I do remember her
I
now.
did ask him about her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you say?
He said that was their first date.
They chose a very
and
public venue.
That's what I said. I said, was it staged
Wow.
paparazzi? He was like, I don't know if it was staged.
I believe
And he was like,
doesn't
we
know.
went to the dog park and then we went to Sugarfish and then we went back to her house. And I was like, oh my gosh. And now she's
a
pregnant.
home visit.
That's cute.
And a home visit. Yeah. So he was like, you don't think Julianne Hough would date an idiot, do you? And I guess he was, maybe we
Is
called
that
him an idiot
is that
maybe on the show.
He
we wouldn't have said that
he
word. I
hasn't
don't
let
like
it-
that word.
He hasn't let it go.
I don't like that word.
we
But
call him a
it's all,
dummy?
no. But it's just like the first time you see these people, then it's kind of like a poke him back, you know, like a you called me this.
He was
Like,
like, I don't
you
remember what
told
you
Joey
called
he
me.
had
and
Oompa
then
Loompa
I was
hair.
like, I don't remember either. He's like, yeah, it was something about maybe you called me boring. I'm like, well, that makes sense. And I'm like, so you do remember.
But also, I said to him, boring is a compliment when you're on reality TV. It's kind of a backhanded compliment, but it is a
Yeah,
compliment
for
because,
sure.
like,
You just seem like a decent
you're a good
human.
person and
yeah.
just like
Yeah, you might
not.
have character.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
You're not saying anyone has a high body count hair.
High body count hair.
Yeah.
That was insane.
Yeah.
That was really crazy.
Club
Should
girl
we get
hair.
into
Mhm.
some headlines?
Oh, well, let's get into some headlines. Oh, we unfortunately.
Huh?
Jay-Z.
Oh my God, that's where we're starting? Dark?
Well, I mean, we want to keep this show light and aspirational and positive vibes, but this is a big story.
Yeah,
It's
it
sad.
is. It's. I feel like this is the start of
Yeah, the
all
one-
of them.
Of what's to come.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, this is a massive.
This is kind of. I
allegation.
always go back to remember. Maybe you guys don't remember because some of you are pretty young. But there was a period of time, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, when everybody knew that R. Kelly was a pedophile.
Yeah.
Everyone knew it, and Hollywood was doing bits about it. It was like a running joke, like Dave Chappelle. It was part of his like the Chappelle Show, and they were just like. It was a bit like everyone knew about it. Everyone talked about it. And R. Kelly was just like still making music, walking the streets as a free man. And like we all knew and did nothing about it. It was so kind of bizarre and weird. We were just like, ha, 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 ha. Creepy, 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 disgusting, disgusting, disgusting. R. Kelly like has this thing
but like
for
downloading his new song.
but like it, yeah,
That's
and we all just
crazy.
kind of went along with it. And like I don't know, like it's time to pay the reaper. It sounds like maybe I don't know. Jay-Z obviously issued a denial statement.
Well, also Jay-Z, R. Kelly, and like Diddy, like they all ran in
Lots
the same crowd, like
of
way
videos
back
together.
when.
Lots of they went to lots of parties together. I mean, I don't know. It's like how do we really believe that all these celebrities at these parties didn't know what was going on?
Yeah.
I mean, I remember the lawyer that's going against Diddy, he filed 120 civil lawsuits. This was 3 months ago. I can't even imagine what's come out since then. So I'm like, yeah, we're slowly going to start chipping away at like who is named in these
Like
lawsuits.
the lawyer who is filing these claims, he's also, I believe, I went on his Twitter, he's also a Marine recon officer.
Mhm.
Whoa.
Which Jay-Z does call out in his
He does.
response statement.
He refers to his service
Oh,
of the country.
He does. He responds to this lawyer and says, my lawyer received a blackmail attempt called a demand letter from a quote unquote lawyer named Tony Busby.
So for those who don't know, a demand letter is something that if you are going to sue someone, it is something you send to this person as like it's kind of like a heads up, like we demand that you wronged us. And it's like an opportunity to settle, basically. It's saying you did this shit. We want this in return before we make it public and sue you. A demand letter is not public. A lawsuit is.
Okay. So he says, from a lawyer named Tony Busby, what he had calculated was the nature of these allegations and the public scrutiny would make me want to settle. No, sir. It had the opposite effect. It made me want to expose you for the fraud you are in a very public fashion. So no, I will not give you one red penny. These allegations are so heinous in nature that I implore you to file a criminal complaint, not a civil one. Whomever would commit such a crime against a minor should be locked away. Would you not agree? These alleged victims would deserve real justice if that were the case. This lawyer, who I have done a bit of research on, seems to have a pattern of these type of theatrics. I have no idea how you come to such a deplorable human, Mr. Busby, but I promise you I have seen your kind many times over. I'm more than prepared to deal with your type. You claim to be a Marine? Marines are known for their valor. You have neither honor nor dignity. My only heartbreak is for my family. My wife and I will have to sit our children down, one of whom is at the age where her friends will surely see the press and ask questions about the nature of these claims and explain the cruelty and greed of people. I mourn yet another loss of innocence. Children should not have to endure such at their young age. It is unfair to try to understand inexplicable degrees of malice meant to destroy families and human spirit. My heart and support goes out to true victims in the world who have to watch how their life story is dressed in costume for profitability by this ambulance chaser in a cheap suit. You have made a terrible error in judgment thinking that all celebrities are the same. I'm not from your world. I'm a young man who made it out of the projects of Brooklyn. We don't play these types of games. We have strict codes and honor. We protect children. You seem to exploit people for personal gain. Only your network of conspiracy theorists, fake physics, will believe the idiotic claims you have levied against me at that. If not, for the seriousness surrounding harm to kids would be laughable. I look forward to showing you just how different I am.
What is the
lawyer responds and says, regarding the Jay-Z case and his efforts to silence my clients, Mr. Carter previously denied being the one who sued me and my firm. He filed his frivolous case under a pseudonym. What he fails to say...
That's now been confirmed that it was, in fact, Jay-Z who
Mhm.
did file an anonymous claim against this Tony guy.
After...
Like a month ago, he filed a claim under like a John Doe trying to protect his identity, saying, you know, you're going after me and blah, 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 blah.
What he fails to say in his recent statement is my firm sent his lawyer a demand letter on behalf of an alleged victim, and that victim never demanded a penny from him. Instead, she only sought a confidential mediation. Since I sent the letter on her behalf, Mr. Carter has not only sued me, but he has tried to bully and harass me and this plaintiff. His conduct has had the opposite impact. She is emboldened. I am very proud of her resolve. As far as the allegations in the complaint filed, we will let the filing speak for itself and will litigate the facts in court, not in the media.
Just out of curiosity, with Jay-Z, with all his vigor of like protecting kids and like having to sit down with his kids, did he make a statement when his pal Diddy got arrested, or like beat his ex-girlfriend or anything like that? Did he like say anything and condemn Diddy for anything like that, or like, you know?
You know, I didn't see anything in the headlines.
And like, not to like bring up stuff from the past, but also like Foxy Brown came out saying that she dated Jay-Z when she was 15.
How old was Beyonce when they got
Unclear.
together?
There's been a lot of articles or interviews that it's, you know, sometimes she's floating around that 18, 19-year-old age range.
Yeah,
when they met. Unclear.
know. I've been anti-Jay-Z since Solange punched him in that elevator.
Oh
I
my
gotta be
God,
honest.
I forgot about that.
Since Lemonade, I've been like, fuck that man.
I completely
how I,
forgot that she
like-
punched him in that elevator. That was
I think about it often.
crazy.
And even
Yeah.
the like Aaliyah stuff where she was like underage with R. Kelly and he was
Mhm.
around and like you didn't do anything to stop that from happening. So,
Yeah, so it's like you can't just now start protecting children.
you know, I mean,
Yeah.
and by all means, I'm like, I'm sorry that this is happening in the sense for his kids because that sucks. But I'm like, if you did do this, you're going to have to address it.
I mean, obviously, this is all speculation at this point. This is all like alleged accusations.
Yeah.
But it's not alleged that Jay-Z and P. Diddy were very close and went to a lot of parties together. And I just don't know how you like don't see some shit. And especially if you're Jay-Z, one of the most powerful people in entertainment, you're in the know. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like, you're
Yeah.
not hard to think that one of the most powerful people in entertainment in the music industry is like ignorant. And,
Doesn't
like,
know.
Doesn't know. And like, ooh, I didn't realize. And oh, that was going on. Ooh, silly me. You know? Like, just
Oh,
hard,
she looked so young, but I could have sworn she was 27.
it's hard. Like, it's.
And there are people that have like messed with them and hung out with them that have separated themselves long before all of this, whether it's being screwed over by them, whatever. I'm like, and you make a choice every year to show up to the white party, to show up to the events and everything. So I'm like, you can't tell me you're that close to show up to everything, but you don't know what's actually going on.
Yeah.
Speaking of crimes, Hawk Tuah,
Oh.
Haley Welch is criticized for meme coin launch after price crashes. I don't really understand a lot of the Bitcoin talk.
I feel like, yeah, this is like I think she's getting some bad advice from some people.
Yeah, I don't know if this is like a jail time type of thing,
I don't know.
but it seems
It's getting a lot.
it seems bad.
It's getting a lot of attention from a lot of people and people in power.
It sounds like this whole situation also happened very quickly, like that the stock for her coin went up to like 500 million or something, and then within
The market cap. I don't even know what that means.
but within minutes, people sold it. So it's like all of a sudden the value of that coin went down astronomically, and people who invested money into it lost it. And then they're claiming that the three main people that got money was her and her team. And so they're trying to have them explain it. But the thing is that this whole situation is super unregulated. So I'm like, I don't really know who's going to come after her for this.
It's because 80 to 90% was controlled by her team.
Right.
So they sold it right away. So they made the money, and everybody else that bought into it lost it
money
immediately.
Has Miss Haley spoken about any of this?
She
or-
tried. They went on like a live stream and like tried to have a conversation, and then she kind of was just like, I need to go. And
she
then ended
doesn't
it.
really seem to be playing the long game here. She's definitely playing the whole like, make it while you can kind of attitude. I mean, when we had her on the show, she seemed quite sweet and lovely.
She was like, I want to do charity work. I want to work with like animals.
did
And
say
now
that.
she's like
She is lean. I mean,
crashing Bitcoin or something. It's like,
well,
what's happening?
she sure like when we had her on, obviously it was like right
Opposite.
after she
Literally.
became like a Tuah girl. I wasn't really sure.
But she was like giving all of her money away. And
She
so
did.
now
She
it
did
is
Brianna
just
Chicken
like,
Fried's podcast, and then she did ours. Like she hadn't really talking to anyone about anything, and then she was talking about doing charity and stuff. And it seemed clear that like her management team was from like the comedy space, which is male dominated. And we quickly, after having on, realized that like her main core audience is like middle-aged men. It's like the bro audience. is,
Internet
like,
bros.
The internet
Yeah.
bros is her audience.
But I
and
don't
she
think
is
that's
leaning in.
I don't think that's her audience for her like podcast.
I think well, I've never listened to her podcast, but I think her audience in general is very internet bro. I think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
What's
Yeah.
like who at what's today's date? December 2024.
Ninth?
Still is like Hawk Tuah spit on that thing is the funniest thing I've ever heard in my life. Seems a very internet bro thing to
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. She
Yeah.
went viral because a bunch of dudes followed her.
Sure, but I
Yeah.
guess it's just more like her decision or her team's decision or whatever, whoever's decision is to like lean into that rather than to like
Yeah.
take this platform and then try to like play the long game and
Right.
slowly kind of
Yeah.
like decide what you want your platform to be about rather than saying a bunch of internet bros are fans of me. Let's do the internet bro playbook and then
Yeah.
It
just
is an
kinda destroy her
interesting
credibility.
Right.
It's an interesting path to go down this route. I definitely saw her like selling like razors on her social media or something, or like I don't know,
Like-
hair care gummy bears or something,
Yeah,
or
sugar bear
doing
hair.
stand-up comedy. But like I definitely could not have predicted this path.
It's
of, like
crazy.
NFT, Bitcoin,
Yeah.
whatever, meme coin, whatever the hell that even is.
The thing
She's-
is, too, is that their team published a thing called Hawkonomics, where after they made the money and sold everything, they basically corroborated that a majority of the shares went to kind of like insider people.
The
Hawk-
fact that
They
she's
did?
going down for the same
Hawkonomics.
thing Martha Stewart did is insane. To
Well, it's
me.
not quite the same.
Not quite the same.
And people,
I don't even think
and
it's
like
close.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
like insider trading.
people were losing like millions of dollars too. Like someone lost $3 million investing.
like,
in
Like
it.
Can she
Martha
go to
Stewart,
jail
to be
for
clear,
this?
did not scam anyone.
No,
other
she just
than
technically
maybe
lied.
she definitely just did a no. She did the thing that again everyone in Congress does every day.
Yeah.
Where Haley ripped off people. Like
Yeah,
people
that's
lost
true.
millions of dollars.
Yeah,
Now,
Martha-
who those people were,
Actually did. Yeah.
I don't know. But
I don't know. I don't know. If you're buying Hawk to a Bitcoin though, like
Meme coin.
I was gonna say
yeah.
exactly.
I don't feel bad for you.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Like, what if you were just a young buck who didn't know any better?
Again,
Still,
I feel like they have stock markets for a reason. If you're
Yeah.
going to give $3 million to somebody who doesn't work in this field and all of a sudden it's a Hawk meme, Hawk Tuah, whatever,
yeah.
then I'm like, if you gave $3 million and lost $3 million, like who do you have to blame for
but
that?
yourself
Yeah.
for investing in Hawkonomics.
Like
I don't
invest in
know.
Apple or Disney or something. Like, I
Like,
don't know.
I can say for sure
It is
the-
interesting.
she may be spitting on that thing, but it's not going to trickle down.
Ew.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Economics joke from Mary.
Thank you.
All
What's next?
Are you holding space for your economic jokes?
Oh, I'm so holding space for my economic jokes.
I don't know if I can take it anymore. I'm done with holding space.
Are you?
I'm done with it.
I'm not.
No, but the question is, do you know how to be here?
I think the bigger question is I don't give a fuck.
Wow.
I think she is playing did you see this interviewer
her?
is like the interviewer, what's her name? Tracy
Gilchrist.
Tracy
Gilchrist.
She's having a ball.
Oh my gosh, she's got
As
a
she
brand
should
deal with
be.
Mac.
Yeah, if you're a journalist for Out Media, Out Magazine, and then you get to do a Mac, like
No, this is a huge
made
for
it.
she's
her.
gonna lean in.
Huge.
Yeah.
She's gonna lean in.
As she should.
Yeah, she's gonna hold space for that.
But I think the whole
For that
like
check.
the,
Hold
the
space without bank account.
Yeah.
Cynthia and Ariana did like a follow-up interview to the
Mhm. It
interview,
was
and they tried to play it off
incredible.
as if they were like it was all a bit. But like my biggest takeaway is I don't know if I trust you then or trust you now, but I think you're just full of shit.
I don't think it was
I-
a bit. I think they were
think they were
genuinely
confused.
confused and trying to not insult the interviewer. And they
Yeah.
were like, "Oh, really? Like people are doing that?"
There's a
But
different-
Cynthia
there's
was
a
like
different-
crying,
There's a
wasn't
difference
she?
between
Yeah.
being polite.
There's
There's a difference between being
Cynthia
polite and
has
saying,
actor
"Oh,
brain.
yeah."
Yeah.
There's a difference between being polite and being like, "Oh, thank you, thank you." You just say thank you.
But
Versus like
everything was-
crying and putting on a whole act
I
and
think
like
she just said, "That's what I wanted."
I didn't
No,
really,
she was
I
like,
didn't realize what
"Really?"
was going on.
Cynthia thought that the interviewer was saying something else, and then Ariana was just incredibly confused because she was like, "Am I
What did she
hearing
think she was
things wrong?"
saying?
Like
I don't know.
they didn't clarify, but Cynthia was just like, I interpreted the question as something different, and so she was emotional, and then she was confused because she was like, "Did I hear that right?" And then Ariana was like, "I was just trying to be there."
That
And
was
Cynthia was like, "And I didn't know where I was." And then Ariana was like, "And the only thing I could think of to comfort her was to stroke the finger, and I didn't know why I tapped it." But
well, Ariana.
Pressure.
It seemed clear that
Tension. Tension is
Ariana
what they
really didn't
said.
know what was going on. It was just trying to be there for Cynthia.
Yeah.
But Cynthia's like actions seem unclear. It's
Well,
like, why
Cynthia,
were you
when
cli-
Cynthia was like, I also was just trying to be there in the follow-up interview. That she was doing a bit.
and then she was like, I didn't know how to be there, and I'm just like,
That's
how,
when-
how does it mean to be there?
I'm
You're-
also like, where are we?
They're all also this follow-up interview is like all very unserious.
Yeah.
I don't think that they're like really. I think
I
you're
think it
taking.
was-
I think you're reading this at
No,
face value.
I think they were embarrassed.
no,
No.
they're not
No.
embarrassed.
No.
Everyone loves it. They think this is so funny.
Everyone- sure, but a lot of people are laughing at him.
I'd wear the shirt
I'd wear the shirt too.
A holding space shirt.
Holding space shirt.
with just a finger.
I think for the target demographic of Wicked, which is like
Sure.
gay people are eating this up. Ariana said Evan Ross Katz like sent her a shirt immediately. So that means it's like real. The gay men's chorus, like
They're ridiculous,
song.
though.
it's ridiculous. It's Adele Dazeem is what it is. And
I love that so much.
the wickedly talented
The wickedly talented.
Adele Dazeem.
Has he ever said anything about that?
I don't know.
We
John
just
yes,
Travolta?
yeah,
John Travolta,
they-
yeah.
apparently
The way
they
he tried
talked
to
about it.
introduce Idina Menzel.
Yeah.
I do remember. that.
Every time Wicked, someone involved in Wicked gets brought up, the funniest thing in the world happens, and I can't wait for the part 2 press tour.
In reality
God,
TV
when- is there a
world,
whole part
so-
2?
Yeah,
Next
next
year.
year
Okay.
we get to do this all again.
in the reality TV world, Lindsay Hubbard gave birth. Finally, what was she, like 47 weeks pregnant?
Was
Oh
she?
my, she
Yeah.
was
Wow.
like, woo, she was doing everything she could to induce labor. And I don't know what finally did the trick, but
Congratulations.
she has given birth to her daughter, Gemma Britt.
Maybe she had to
Koof.
like call Carl.
and like
Shock her system.
Get
you know?
stressed out.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. She was eating all of the stuff everyone says to eat. She was walking along the curb. She's bouncing on her ball.
If your ex, like right after you break up, gets pregnant, do you have any type of like could have been your dad type of energy feelings?
We should. I mean, Gypsy Rose. Hello.
Should I text
I think
Ryan?
we clearly saw that play out in the media where she had to get a paternity test. So
Well, I don't mean like literally, but like, do you think Carl's sitting there being like,
that could have been
that
me.
could have been my baby? It's got to be a kind of an odd, an interesting feeling. It's
Yeah.
like it really closes the door on a chapter of your life for
Mm.
sure.
Gemma Britt. They did the iconic handhold of the baby picture. No face, just handhold.
Hmm.
No face, no case. Cute.
Paris and Nicole, the encore. We excited to watch?
I
didn't
will.
watch the
I-
first one.
What?
I loved Simple Life.
Simple Life
Yeah.
was so good.
It came out at a time where I don't think we even had MTV.
What were you in college?
Maybe I don't know. When did it come out?
20 years ago.
Yep.
Yeah.
20-ish.
2004.
Mhm.
Okay, so I wasn't living at home. I definitely had MTV. I don't know. Maybe I
Yeah.
was. It just.
It's worth a watch. It's one of the funniest things in the entire world.
It is something that will be quoted till the end of time.
yeah.
No, I mean they are iconic.
Yeah.
I do
Mhm.
remember it.
Loves it.
I never sat down and watched it.
And
So the official trailer for the encore has dropped. The synopsis is more than 20 years since OG reality icons Paris Hilton and Nicole Richie first took the world by storm. The lifelong friends reunite in a new special following the dynamic duo as they try to produce a once-in-a-lifetime operatic performance based on the self-coined phrase,
Sanasa.
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 They're just so unserious,
It's
and I live for it.
Wait,
They
Nick, can you say
are.
Sanasa?
Sanasa?
And then keep saying it.
Sanasa, Sanasa, Sanasa.
Sanasa.
Is it a song?
Well, their song is Sanasa. Sanasa. Sanasa.
Sanasa.
God.
Oh my gosh. So that's
I-
exciting.
It's like to reboot A Simple Life. It is the best reboot possible because they're self-producing an operatic. Like it's just so genius
Yeah.
and so perfect, and it better win an Emmy.
It better win an Emmy.
It's basically like they're basically doing like. Have you guys ever seen Waiting for Guffman?
One of my favorite movies.
Yeah, they're waiting for Guffmaning A Simple Life. It's this
Never seen those
mockumentary.
movies?
Never even
Christopher
heard of it.
Guest movies.
Best in Show.
Oh, I saw Best in Show.
Yeah.
Same director, same writer,
Regional
same
theater
premise.
production.
Yeah, so
Okay.
instead of dog
Yes.
show, yes, regional theater production.
I'll watch that.
hmm
Uh,
Like this is what we're gonna be getting
Have you seen
for your consideration.
that too?
A Mighty Wind.
A Mighty Wind.
Yes, yes. Christopher Guest.
All of them are great.
Hmm.
Anyways.
He's
Anyways.
married to Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yes,
Lisa
yes.
Vanderpump spoke out about the
He's a six-finger man in Princess Bride.
Yep. Spinal Tap.
boring.
Lisa Vanderpump, you said?
Lisa Vanderpump spoke out about the revamp of Vanderpump Rules.
Of course she did.
She
wanted
said it
people to know.
wasn't just my decision. It's a network.
don't
Everybody
think it
really
was-
thought about it.
I don't think it was her decision. Period.
Mm-mm.
You don't think she has any sort of say
is
in that?
executive producing
She
it.
is, yeah, right?
I don't think she has much of a say.
All right, well, somebody call Vicky and figure out what an executive producer does.
Yeah.
Thank you.
She's gonna be pissed we called her. She's got a lot of
she's
shit
got a
going on
Vicky
right
credit,
now.
Yeah. She's got a Vicky credit.
She said, I think it was like we told the story. It's time to go back to the original premise of the show, which was so fascinating. I think it's time to go back to grassroots. I think Lisa is just ready to be back on TV full time.
Yeah.
So
She's like, I'm tired of these people stealing my thunder and fighting for airtime with the original cast.
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, she does make a good point of just being like, this one didn't want to film with this one wouldn't be in the same room as this one, and that's just not what that show was about. So it was 12 years, 11 seasons. She cannot minimize, and she doesn't want to, the importance of how great the cast was and how open they were
They were open. They were
So
great.
until they
true,
weren't.
Until
they
Lisa.
weren't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, she makes a fair point about how can you make a show about a group of friends when they're not friends anymore, and we've said it before.
Well,
like,
yeah. I just really hope they go back to, well, I don't know if they will, but I want to see the whole, they came to Hollywood to try to become famous,
Yeah.
not came to Hollywood. And by famous, I mean like an actor or a singer,
Yeah, not to be
Yeah.
on Vanderpump Rules.
not to be on Vanderpump Rules.
Well,
like,
I think
not
it's
to
like
influence.
they can't work if that's actually the plot of the show, then them working at Sir doesn't compute anymore. Like it would have to be about like someone's assistant.
Or they would just
Right?
have to keep with the old formula, which means obviously you're getting onto this show with no money and you're being paid no money.
Yeah.
So it's like your life depends on you having your waiter job, but
Mhm.
also it's like you being out there in the world trying to make something of yourself and having a camera to aid in that, but not to be like the source of
They
your
almost
fame.
they need this contract to not allow these people to make social media brand deals for at least
Yes.
they need to need this job.
Yes.
Like when Vanderpump
Mhm.
first came out, the entire cast needed this show to work.
Yes.
You
Like
know?
I want to see their East Hollywood
Yes,
shitty
studio,
apartment with a
shitty
burnt down
apartment.
lot
Yes.
next to it. Which
Can't
is
have the
my first
microwave going
apartment.
at the same
And
time
then-
as the light on.
Yeah.
Like,
And they have to be put in a position where it's just protect my character and soul or make this work.
mhm.
Mhm.
And they have to constantly be faced with that moral decision of maybe commit a crime ish or season 2.
Yeah.
Like, will we ever get Jax just stealing a pair of sunglasses on a vacation?
I don't know
will
if
we
we'll
get that.
ever get a Jax Taylor again, nor should we. But
Yeah.
I
we
think
can
we
be
should.
grateful for the time we've had
Nor
with him.
should
this
we?
is true.
That is true.
It is this is a different era of reality TV too that this is happening in. So it'll be interesting to see if the characters that they find are as psychotic as certain members of the original Vanderpump.
Probably
Yeah.
not.
Yeah, they're too self-aware.
Y'all know how crazy the internet is.
Yeah.
You know how Lisa Barlow was like, I was sitting at the Fendi show right next to Kim K and Sarah Jessica
Oh,
Parker. Where
yeah.
were you? Or whatever. Well,
Uh-oh.
the fans did pull up photos.
Receipts are in.
Photos from the fashion show where Kim
Mhm.
K and Sarah Jessica Parker are sitting next to each other, and Lisa Barlower's nowhere to be found.
Oh,
Now,
no.
maybe she was in the
Maybe-
bathroom
maybe
when
she
this photo was
taking a
taken.
tinkle.
Yeah.
She could have been tinkling.
Is there an
Lisa Barlow does not lie. We know that.
Yes,
So-
of course.
Is there an empty seat in these photos?
You know, it's looking quite packed. I will
Okay.
say it's looking full.
Yes,
There's also two people on either side of Kim K and Sarah Jessica Parker,
Let me see the phone.
which their heads are turned, so I cannot tell exactly who they are. That is no disrespect to them.
Maybe
I'm sure they're
after
lovely.
Lisa got up, they like quick
slide in. We
slide
need a
in.
photo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we need
Maybe.
a photo.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's so many photos from this fashion show.
Lisa did upload her own receipts.
She did.
Oh.
She was in the front row. It just looked like she was in a front row somewhere else, maybe further back in the darkness.
So she was at a
Yeah.
different front row, like the
So she was front
She
row.
was further down the row in the
with
front.
Kim K and Sarah Jessica Parker,
Also-
not next to
Right, that's
Yeah.
what it was. So
Kim
she
K
wasn't
and Sarah
lying,
Jessica
but
Parker. Okay.
yeah.
Oh, I was front
So she-
row with okay.
So they
yeah.
were all. So she's also front row.
The statement was a little misleading, but she was also front row.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that it makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, she did not say sitting with or next to or
Sat near.
alongside.
She said sat near, which technically
She said near.
near. I mean, if you're in the same row, that is
I
kind
was-
of near.
I was in LA with Taylor
Oh.
Swift.
Yeah.
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 Oh, is that the equivalent?
You're at the airport with Joshua Jackson.
I was at the
Besties.
airport with Joshua Jackson.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Yep.
I one time worked as a PA on an ASAP Rocky music video, so technically we hung out and are very close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We spent a 16-hour day together
I went to the Packer game with Jordan Love.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
while he played and you were in the
Yeah.
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 Absolutely.
Wow.
Awesome. You went to the Laker game with LeBron James.
I was with
Mhm.
LeBron
Yeah,
at the
just-
Lakers
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
I hung out with Ellie the elephant at the Macy's Day Parade because I saw her from about 60 feet in the air.
Okay. There you go.
Yeah.
Should we finish talking about our big week? If you haven't heard about Seth MacFarlane's Christmas party, they be iconic. That was I've been to it 2 other times, long time ago. I was the Bachelor when I got invited before, so I kind of had a connection, and then I was on Family Guy, so then like I got like an in.
You were on Family Guy?
As himself.
Hell yeah.
That's me.
Hell yeah.
Kind of cool. And that's where Sacha Baron Cohen and his now ex-wife
Isla
Isla
Fisher?
Fisher tapped me on the shoulder and said they liked my work,
Oh.
to which I was very flattered. But now Nelly and I got invited as a couple, moving up in the
I don't
world.
have outfits for either, so I'll be wearing a trash bag.
I know what shoes you'll be wearing.
Yes, you do. Size 9.
Get them scuff shoes, some
Yeah,
some
let's get
tread
our
work.
money's worth on that, please.
Yes.
You mean you're kind of giving this sweater is kind of giving Ted.
D.
No, the Seth MacFarlane movie.
Oh, Ted. Got you.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
You
of
look like a little
course.
teddy bear. There you go.
Yeah, I'll just wear
Yeah.
this and be like, "Hey, I'm your movie."
Yeah. And then
I'm
just
not
say,
in spirit for the holidays. I'm in spirit for your movies.
Yeah.
Big fan. Big fan.
I mean, Ted
Mm.
season 2 is streaming on Peacock.
Season 2?
Yeah, they made 2 seasons of it.
Interesting.
Never seen it.
Oh, well, this
Anyway.
week we have Riley Green on a special episode of Going Deeper. You will not want to miss that. He's like a country music new heartthrob. Everyone's
He is.
talking
He's
about him on
taking
TikTok.
country music by world.
He's a dreamy man, has
wind.
dreamy eyes. We taught him about love languages. That was fun.
We did teach him about love languages, and we got into his love life, which he doesn't talk about often. So
Yeah. We really ripped it out of him.
we did.
Yeah.
He's no longer together. His body parts are
Yeah. Wow.
I don't know, ripped. I don't know.
Well,
Oh,
That was
my
a real.
goodness.
You really went deep.
to see that undressing, listen on Wednesday or watch.
Undressing.
Yeah.
Full of puns over here.
Yeah. It was really, really good. You know who's a football fan?
Who?
Timmy, little Tim.
Timothy
Nick can't say his
Chalamet.
name.
Bob Dylan. Timothy
Timothy
Chalamet.
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 I can't say his
Chalamet.
name.
You got
That's
it.
so sweet.
Timothy
Yeah.
Chalamet. Yes.
Chalamet.
Timothy
Yeah, he's a football
Chalamet.
fan.
No longer a complete unknown is his knowledge of football,
College football,
college football.
He's the only watch college football, not NFL.
not specified.
That's
But I know the clip
Justin's
was
like,
college.
sorry, is this
Justin-
different things? I
Yeah.
thought they were all one.
Talk more about football now, Justin.
This Vibes versus Stats segment of the Viall Files brought to you by Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios with no shells come in a variety of flavors, including chili roasted, honey roasted, sea salt and vinegar, smoky barbecue, sea salt and pepper, jalapeno lime, and the newest seasonal limited time edition, sweet cinnamon. With a wide range of flavors, there's a Wonderful Pistachios product for every taste bud and occasion. They are perfect for your game time gatherings and for taking with you on the go. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. How did you guys do on Vibe versus Stats? Is it time for
Packers lost.
Packers lost, so we
Yeah,
all lost.
I'm
That
really
sucks.
sorry
That's
about
okay.
that,
That's fine. It's
you know?
listen. We'll get them in the playoffs.
Yeah.
It was a
yeah.
sad day in our household.
Yeah, so the Packers lost, so we both lost because we both chose the Packers with the Bills versus the Rams. The Rams won.
Who picked the Rams?
You did.
I picked.
did.
You picked the Rams.
You guys. You
So
guys.
you're still ahead. You're 13-11, and
You're really
we're
not
8 and
that
16.
ahead though. 8 and 13, like you're really like it's nothing. You know,
Yeah. Well,
Mm.
yeah.
You get off your high horse, Nick.
you're nothing. So
We're
Yeah.
joking. We're joking.
But
He's
how
not
did the
even here.
wives do? Any fun reports from the wives?
I imagine Haley Steinfeld isn't super jazzed that her now fiance lost.
Yeah.
But
that's not good.
Josh did score 51 fantasy football points for
Oh, okay.
whoever was on his team.
Do we
So he had-
think he's on her fantasy team?
Do you think she has a fantasy team?
No, I think she's
I think
living
every
in a
time they go to
fantasy.
She does
bed,
not
he's on
have
his.
time for
I think
that.
he's in there. I think he's in her fantasy team.
Ew.
Do you think that Haley would give Josh an ultimatum?
Whoa, maybe she did, and maybe that's why they got together.
Thank you, Wonderful Pistachios, for sponsoring this segment of the Viall Files. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. We got Scotty on this episode. Are we interviewing Scotty? Scotty?
Yeah.
We are.
We get to talk about Scotty about planning dates.
that
about,
was the craziest
wow.
thing I've ever seen.
He will be coming in
Y'all
via
are on your
hot
own.
air balloon.
I'm
I just want
No,
to
I'm honestly nervous.
yeah, if you
to
don't
talk.
have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all.
That
And you
was-
ate breakfast without me?
Yeah.
I didn't
Who hurt
realize this is
you?
what I was signing up for with my trial wife. Huh?
I don't want to be
Yeah.
your full-time wife after that.
So what should we ask Scotty? First question, who did you eat with today?
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Did you
What's
eat
your-
breakfast alone?
Ideal first date.
His options were cryotherapy and hot air balloon.
It was like let's
I
do
don't wanna
something
do either.
fun.
Sense deprivation.
let's do a picnic. What?
No, it went like this. Let's do something fun today. Okay, well, how about hot air balloon or cryotherapy? I don't know if I'd want to do that. Well, why don't you want to do anything fun?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And it's like I feel rejected now. It's like what is
He
happening?
said-
Give more. The amount like if Nick felt rejected every time he's like, "What do we want to do for supper?" Like pasta, and I'm like, "No, I'm not feeling that." Okay, steak. I don't know if I'm feeling that either. And he's like, "Oh my god, I feel rejected."
So
like,
you
I
hate
can't-
me.
That's that's crazy.
Well, if you just don't want to eat, you should have just said that.
Yeah.
So I'm nervous to chat with him
Yeah.
because I don't want to get yelled at. But
Was
we'll
it
see.
in the trailer for the second drop that he's like, I don't care if you love me, I just want a wife?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my
you know,
god.
I really hope that Aria, if they are not together or if they are together, I hope she's watching this back and she does break up with him.
Oh, yes.
Because it's like
She's great.
I cannot. He's
She's the one with
Caleb.
Caleb right
Yeah.
now.
She seems lovely.
She's lovely,
So
and
is Caleb.
So is yeah.
Caleb seems like such a just like kind person.
Except that she's convinced that Caleb's in love with her, and Caleb's like, "Hey, we're just
Yeah.
like friends." And
Yeah.
I'm just like, which one do I'm pretty sure I believe Caleb.
Which
We were-
also was so crazy to hear Caleb be like, yeah, at the guys' night out to be like, yeah, it was like such a, friendship. And
Mhm.
Scotty to be like, there's never been a straight man ever to just want a friendship with art. It's like,
I think he's just like
I think
aware of the situation. Also, his partner is alone, and so he's not going to want to do anything that complicates that situation.
I don't think Scotty, I think that's a shot to his ego
Yes,
if like
yes.
a guy
He's
doesn't want his girl.
He's threatened
Yeah.
by the fact that,
Scotty is insane.
Yes.
He's absolutely insane.
Yes.
He is here. If you want to bring him up.
Oh, perfect. Yeah,
he's
let's bring
in
him
the
in.
chat.
He's been listening.
Oh, he is not. This is not a hot mic moment. No, he's
God.
I'll say it with my chest.
Yeah,
I'm
let's
sure
bring
he's
him in
fine
after,
in real life.
after
On
me and
TV,
Mary
he's
call him
insane.
insane. Yeah, for sure. Let's bring him in. If you're starting a business, you shouldn't just start from scratch. You need a platform that can support you behind the scenes while you focus on making what you love. Shopify is a global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. Shopify is the business behind your business. Nobody does selling better than Shopify. It's the home of the #1 checkout on the planet.
It has Shop Pay integration that boosts conversions up to 50%. This means way less carts going abandoned and way more sales going to you. So, if you're growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell everywhere on the web, in the store, in the feed, and everywhere in between. We are using Shopify here at NV Media. We've been using it for years now. It is drag and drop functionality. It's incredibly easy to set up. It's amazing what you can do with Shopify. Their app, you can literally run your entire business from your phone using their app. It's amazing. And when you make a sale, it goes cha-ching. It's a lot of fun. It is great. And it's super easy to integrate many applications that just make the Shopify experience that much more robust. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout we use for the Viall Files. Grow with your business at every stage. Doesn't matter if you're a company of one growing to be a company of 1 million. Shopify can grow with your business. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/VIALL, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/VIALL to upgrade your selling today. That's shopify.com/VIALL, all lowercase.
Finding the perfect gift often means giving someone something they'll love, but wouldn't get for themselves. Nutrafol is a great option that fits the bill. They will be thanking you later. Get them something they actually need instead of another sweater or a gift card. Getting Nutrafol is a meaningful way to show you care about their well-being and their confidence. Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist-recommended hair growth supplement trusted by over 1 million people, seeing thicker, stronger, faster-growing hair with less shedding in just 3 to 6 months with Nutrafol. I used it for 3 years, and before I got pregnant, my hair was in the best state it had ever been in. I used it postpartum, and I felt like my postpartum hair thinning was decreased by so much. I had so many other moms asking me what my hair routine was. I was putting them onto Nutrafol. My mother is now on Nutrafol. It's just such an amazing brand, and it actually works.
With Nutrafol, building a hair growth routine is simple. Purchase online, no prescriptions required. Free shipping and automated deliveries ensure you'll never miss a day. See results in 3 to 6 months. Whether you're gifting to yourself or a loved one, give the gift of great hair growth this holiday season. Right now, Nutrafol is offering our listeners $10 off any order. Enjoy free shipping when you subscribe. Go to Nutrafol.com, enter promo code VIALLGIFT. That's VIALLGIFT. Nutrafol.com, spelled NUTRAFOL.com. Promo code VIALGIFT. Again, that's Nutrafol.com, promo code VIALLGIFT.
What's going on?
Scotty, how's it going?
Hello.
How's everybody doing?
Good. How are you? We're fine, but we did not have to watch ourselves on TV all weekend long. And did you watch?
Yeah.
Did you watch?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Okay, well, before we have a bit of fun with you, what was your biggest takeaway regarding your experience? Is there anything right off the bat you want to jump right into? Or what was your watching it back? What was your takeaway? How do you feel waking up this morning? What is your mindset?
I think, to be completely candid, I was watching the first 5 episodes and I was both horrified and devastated. To be honest, I can't really be more vulnerable than that. The way I look is so angry and aggressive and almost combative for no real reason. And so watching some of those moments back and seeing how certain things were represented, I was like, wow, this is so interesting how this is positioned. And I get it. First impressions matter. I think first impressions are super important. And I know that I did not have the best first impression. But I do think there is a narrative that's being created and being stitched together based on this experience and how maybe I showed up or in some moments didn't show up. So I think that was the biggest shock for me.
I mean, I think you were very well liked throughout until this last episode. Do you?
I don't know about that.
I feel like you were very.
There were moments of I think the last episode was most jarring for people, but I think to your point, Scotty, there were moments of you being I think maybe a bit reactive, out of pocket at times, where it kind of I think threw people off. I get what you're saying, Scotty. I think listen, as someone who knows what it's like to be in your shoes, who's been on reality TV before, you do have to take the good with the bad. It's you did what you did, but they get to pick and choose your good and bad moments. I'm sure you showed a lot of good moments and you showed some bad moments, and you just don't get to decide whether they show 60% of your good moments and 40% of your bad, or 90-10, or yada yada yada. And I think it's just more sometimes it's really jarring to see some of those bad moments a little bit than the good.
For me, when it felt like watching back was 99.9% bad and then maybe 0.1% good, especially with
I feel like you're at the choice. You spoke very highly of Zaina, and I feel like that was a very oh my God, he's it was a touching moment. I feel like she really appreciated the way you spoke to her. I really loved a lot of y'all's interactions with each other. Do you take responsibility for the conversation we've seen, or is it kind of there's so much more context, the edit kind of messed up these conversations? How do you perceive that?
It's so funny because the conversation that I was having with Zaina, we actually were laughing through that entire conversation. And so I just thought it was so wild how strong the reaction was. We went to the gym that morning. I made her breakfast and then we sat down to eat. And I made a comment like, oh, did you eat without me? Because I went to the bathroom to like fix my hair and came back and she had already started eating. And she was like, yeah. And so I think that just dynamic shift after that made it look like I was so upset that she didn't want to do any date ideas or that she was eating without me. And I'm like, I don't know. I think in an experience like this, if you're a viewer, you really have to read between the lines, right? Like I've been in a long distance relationship for almost 2.5 of the 3 years prior to joining the experience. So if I really was that upset about somebody eating without me, there's no way I could be in a long distance relationship, right? Or a relationship at all. And so I was really shocked by how strong that reaction was. And to me, as somebody that went through the experience and understood like some of the nuances, I was like, okay, this is people's reaction based on that first episode and how alarming that fight was and how like people were like, oh, wow, like your fight escalated so quickly. So now this is kind of like who you are, you know? And so that was really me just being sarcastic. And I was like so surprised at how many people reached out to me and were like, why did you get so upset at Zaina for eating without you? And I'm like, we were completely joking. Like I was saying, hey, like
Okay.
I can't tolerate a trial wife that doesn't eat without me. And we were actually laughing through the whole conversation. So
That's believable.
Yeah, I can
Yeah.
see the
That's
sarcasm.
believable.
Yeah. That I mean,
reality TV has no space for sarcasm.
no.
yeah, I mean, I learned that the hard way.
Yeah.
Because it's like, eggs are not good cold. It's like you gotta eat them as soon as they're done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. And so I literally made that same comment. And so I think what was used was, are you just really not going to eat without me? And I think because my facial expression was so like, it didn't look like I was joking, people were like, oh, he's like a Jekyll and Hyde.
What seemed less like a joke, though, was you thinking cryotherapy should be a fun date. Where do you land on? Where do you land on? Because like, can't we just go for a walk, Scotty? Is what I'm thinking. You know,
For sure.
like, could we
went
just
for so many walks?
Yeah. So like, I'm all for like planning a really out of the box kind of experience. But yeah, where do you land on the whole like we're either hot air ballooning or cryotherapy or you're no fun?
I think what we were doing in the moment was we were talking to each other about like what dates we could potentially go on that are not your non-standard dates,
Sure.
right? And so I was just throwing things out there and I was like, are you afraid of heights? Have you ever been in a hot air balloon? How do you feel? And we had just gone to the gym. So I was like, have you ever done cryotherapy? I think for me, like what felt strange was the way when you watch that scene as a viewer, the way I'm coming off is like, you don't want to do what I want to do. You're rejecting me and I need you to do what I want to do because that's my safe space. Like control is my safe space. And so that was really hard for me to watch because I'm just like, wow, like there's no way that I could exhibit this level of control being in a long distance relationship, number one. And then number two, it's just strange because we were talking about non-standard dates. And the funniest part about it was that night we actually went to STK and just went to dinner together. I do think it was just very interesting to watch back. And I was surprised at myself how like, okay, this is kind of how this conversation looks versus how the conversation was.
Okay.
That all does make a lot of sense. My only question for you following all of that is Zaina did have like an ITM interview where she said your energy did change. Do you want to speak to that at all?
It's tough. I think like, so as far as the conversation goes, like what you're seeing is obviously like a couple minutes, you know what I mean, of the entire conversation.
Mhm.
And beyond that, right, I think the thing for me that's very different from Zaina is, first of all, Zaina is probably one of the funniest girls I've ever met. Like she is straight comedy. You know when she's trying to be funny, you know when she's not. She doesn't really exhibit a ton of sarcasm. And I'm super sarcastic. The dynamic shift was us. That was like maybe day 2 or 3 of our trial marriage. So we're still getting to know each other. Beyond that, like I exhibit a level of sarcasm where my facial expressions might not actually match what I'm actually feeling or thinking. And so I think for her, like that was like one of those moments where we were really trying to get to know each other. And maybe, at least on her end, she might have like kind of misunderstood, like, oh, he's like really a little bit annoyed that I don't want to do what he wants to do. And so, that's all I can say to that.
Okay.
I'm sure, Zaina might have more like context, but I do feel like we were still so early in the stages of getting to know each other that it was a little bit hard to watch that ITM and be like, okay, wow, like she maybe like we were in a place where we didn't really know how each other operates yet, and we didn't really understand each other's personalities.
Totally.
But I honestly, like, there's not really much that I can laugh at watching the first 5 episodes, but that was one moment where I could watch it, and even though I wasn't really happy about the way it looked, I can laugh and be like, wow, like I look crazy. You know what I
No,
mean? Like,
we did in fact, before you came on, we said that you did in fact looked insane.
You looked
Yeah.
crazy, yeah.
On TV.
Was
On
there-
TV. On TV. Yeah.
Is there anything, despite obviously fully know that things can be taken out of context, but is there any reflection you thought, this is exactly how I remember myself, but I still want to reflect and look, and maybe there's a change that you could implement into your life, or are we just kind of like taking it with a grain of salt?
I mean, there's always change that you can implement. I think for me, like I should have maybe told her, and I did tell her, I think maybe that's not what came across on screen, but I should have told her like, hey, we can do whatever you want to do as far as a date. It doesn't have to be anything extreme. My fault was I didn't set the foundation for, hey, I don't have any expectations yet because we're still getting to know each other. And instead, I kind of was just myself because we were so comfortable with each other that part of that maybe rubbed her the wrong way. One, because she was in a different relationship and JR has a very different personality than I do. And two, because she wasn't sure how to take some of what I was saying. And so I think she took it as, oh, this is how I'm receiving what you're saying, even though that's not what I was saying at all. And that's not what I meant at all.
How did you end up on the show? Because I'm really fascinated by not only just you, but like just the entire cast, like how they ended up how they ended up on the show. And then my second question, I'm really fascinated by each individual's approach to this whole like, couple swap. JR, he's calling her wifey, it's like, well, maybe we should calm down, bro. Like maybe we could just ease into this. I'm curious, like, one, how did you get on the show? How did you approach the whole like couple swap in terms of like how serious you guys were taking this versus, and like what boundaries or respect did you guys consider in terms of your actual partners, even though you are calling them your ex? I'm like, you live with this person, you say you love with this person, and yeah, I get we're on a show and I get we're playing along, but like the disrespect of some of these couples, it's like, I don't know. Did anything shock you? Where were you at, like watching it back? Not so much you, but just your peers and just how people chose to approach this whole experiment.
I hope you remembered all those questions.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
That was 500.
I just like thought of so many all at once.
That was
a lot.
So let me start with, I'm going to work backwards. So I'm actually going to answer the last question you asked first.
Great.
As far as how each couple is taking this experience and how we all chose a different approach, you're absolutely right. I wouldn't call this trash reality TV. I would call this toxic reality TV.
Fair.
Nobody that is planning to be engaged or wants to be engaged or is looking towards a long-term commitment as far as marriage is like, hey, you know what? Let's stop right there and we'll both date other people and then we'll come back and see if we really, really want this. That's not normal. And so I think when you put real people with real relationships and also real relationship problems into an experience like this, you're not going to get normal reactions all the time. So I think it is important for everybody that's watching and also for us as a cast to give each other grace and for viewers to give us grace. Like this is what you're seeing is such an unnatural and not normal situation for all of us to be in. And I think a lot of times the public is just like, yo, why are you acting not normal? And it's like we all look insane because we're all approaching this in a very different way. And some of us are taking a vastly different approach than the other. So that's what I'll say about that. I'm happy to share more because I could probably talk for hours on that topic.
Well, did you have any specific opinions about JR's approach with Sandy, I guess?
Yeah, the hall pass of it all.
Yeah, and again, if you're talking about technically who's right, I guess Sandy and JR are right because this is the experiment. But to me, I'm watching it and just like, here is a vulnerable guy, Nick, whose quote unquote new partner bails on him. He's alone. To show up at the door and have Sandy, his actual girlfriend, disrespect him in the way that she disrespected him in front of JR.
But then they're like, you're disrespecting
the
us.
projection.
This is my
It's just
wife. You're coming in here with my wife. That was crazy.
I don't know how you come back from that. Like, to me, you might as well just like walk away and call it a day. But like, do you see it differently, or did you see it like us?
That's a tough one. Man. I would say this. I know Nick has a lot of love and respect and admiration in his heart for Sandy, because I can tell you this much. If I had to deal with half of what Nick dealt with, I would have left the experience. I would have deleted all my social media, and I would have gone off the grid indefinitely.
Yeah.
Like what he went through, my heart was broken for him. And I got a chance to talk to him throughout the experience, even though we weren't really supposed to be talking. He shared some things with me, and I was like, wow, like I feel for you. With that in mind, I will say everybody is going to approach this experience differently. And I think JR and Zaina had a very different set of boundaries and a very different set of expectations for each other than some of us did. You know what I mean? And so I think that's why JR was super invested. And he was really, really into the experience. I think Sandy, as far as how she showed up, I think that she also loves Nick. At the same time, there's so much that you're just not seeing. You know what I mean? Like, there's so much that you're seeing some of us at our absolute worst. Like, this is the worst that you'll ever see. Like, some of my fights, like my fight with Aria in the first episode, one of the worst fights that we've ever had. As far as, how I looked at that, like I was not surprised. I knew that was happening prior to it actually happening. So I think for me, watching that back was really tough. I know Nick was really, really struggling. But everybody takes this experience differently. Everybody has different conversations about what's acceptable and not acceptable prior to coming into this. And I think that's why you're seeing this level of intensity with everybody. Like, if you are a viewer and you think, oh, wow, you're going to single one cast member out and you're like, you're the only normal one, you obviously are not doing enough critical thinking, or you just haven't seen the entire season.
You all showed up for the show, so there is that.
It was wild to see. Like, I was like, wow, this is insane. Like, I was watching that and I was like, okay, I didn't know that it.
When Nick came back for the man chat and apologized to JR, I almost lost it.
I know, me too.
I could never. I could never, and I will never.
I kind of lost a little respect for Nick in that moment, but I also really empathized and felt for him. And I kind of also lost respect for JR in that moment, because it's like, bro, you shouldn't be doing this to this guy. Like, I don't know, man. Like,
JR was so comfortable on his high horse that in that moment, it made me so angry for him to be like, not want to accept his apology and be like, yeah, we need to talk. It's like he's been with Sandy for 2 days, 3 days, and like Nick had been with her for years. And it felt incredibly disrespectful. How did you get on the show? You hadn't answered that yet.
Aria and I had a conversation back in May of 2023. That conversation was about our love, but also like, what does taking our love to the next step look like? And so for me, that was the first time I realized, okay, not only do we have slightly different marriage timelines, but I have to take that fact into consideration, knowing who I'm with. Like, Aria operates in this comfortability where she likes to control what's in her orbit. And so if that's not happening, it's very difficult for her to really want to like kind of compromise in that way. Like, I could see myself being in a relationship where I'm like, okay, we either get married when I say, or we don't at all. And so I think that kind of scared me a little bit. And so when we got the opportunity to do the show, first, I didn't even think we were going to get the opportunity. I was like, look, we'll go through the interview process, and what it will do is it will force us to have these uncomfortable conversations about marriage, because there's so many people applying, and there's also so many people that get reached out to. And then we're not going to fall in either of those, 6 couples that get this opportunity. So when we got it, the mistake that I made is I was pushing off all of these hypothetical conversations about, what if you fall in love with someone? What if I develop feelings? What if I have a romantic connection? What are the physical limits of what we can and cannot do? We didn't really talk too much about that until we knew, because I was like, we're not going to get it. And that was 100% my mistake. Like, we should have had the uncomfortable hypothetical conversations instead of just being like, hey, we both are working 2 jobs. Let's only focus on this once we know. And if we had more of those uncomfortable conversations, I think a lot of situations would have gone differently for us. And I think that we would have been a lot better in terms of our just communication.
Can we talk about the guys' night?
Yes, absolutely.
2 things happened. I mean, you kind of popped off on Caleb when he revealed to you that it's only a friendship between him and Aria. And it was like, what was the context behind that? You kind of, said no straight man has ever wanted just a friendship from her. It was like you didn't really believe him. Or was it like a shot to your ego to have someone not? What was that?
Yeah, it kind of gave, you were a little offended that he was only willing to be friends with your girl. But again, curious how you see it.
So much happened at guys' night. Like there were so many different conversations. As far as Nick and JR, I think Nick came off very apologetic. He came off very respectful, and he came off very remorseful, which I was very confused by. I was the last one to arrive. And so I think JR and Nick had their own conversation. And I walked into the end of it and I was like, what is Nick apologizing for? Like, what's going on here? So I think that whole thing was confusing for me because it's almost like JR was expecting an apology for Nick wanting to talk to his girlfriend. And so I think there was like a bit of a masculinity moment there where it was like, okay, like I need to tell you that you're being disrespectful to me and Sandy and our experience, which I think maybe some people could get like, okay, you're kind of invading our space. At the same time, it's like, bro, we didn't need to take it that far. And I think like for them, it was one of those conversations where you almost don't want to get involved because you know that it could escalate to a level that is like really, really toxic. And I feel like Nick was doing his best to apologize and understand JR's perspective. I think in the moment, JR was just hot and he was like, I don't really care what you have to say. Like, stop invading our privacy. So that's that. As far as Caleb, oh, Caleb. So I think what I've been hearing a lot online is I've been getting a lot of hate for, you think you were trying to call Caleb homosexual because he wasn't attracted to Aria, or he wasn't interested in Aria, and that's not what I was trying to do at all.
I don't think any normal person got that vibe.
No.
Yeah, I think it came more across as, if we're gonna use like the toxic masculinity language, like you were offended that he would be friends with her because like you didn't buy it. It's just like, hey, is my girl not hot enough to like not just be friends with or something? It kind of gave that energy, not anything else.
Yeah. I mean, look, I feel like Aria is truly like one of the most beautiful and exceptional women to ever exist. We got a lot of attention as a couple. So it really wasn't like that. I will say, as far as Caleb, I think I was more offended that I felt like Caleb wasn't being honest about his connection with Aria. I felt like he was trying to protect Mariah's feelings. And you can kind of see in that moment, he's like, hey, when you go to girls' night, I want you to tell her these things, but don't tell her those things. You know what I mean? And so I kind of got the energy that Caleb was really interested in her, but he wasn't really willing to be open and vulnerable and honest about that when the cameras were on, when it came time to speak about that connection. And so for me, doing this experience and trying to be as honest as I can be, there's one thing Aria can never say is, you straight lied to me for this experience. There were certain things that you did that I'm only finding out now that I'm watching it on TV. She can never say that because I was 100% honest with her. Even moments that weren't shown that Zaina and I had, I was completely honest with her. And I was like, I want you to be able to make the decision on how you feel about this and whether you feel like, okay, this is a lot, I don't want to hear anymore, or I want you to tell me everything and then I'll decide what it is. With Caleb, he was almost like, hey, I don't think that Mariah is going to be able to handle the truth. And so I'd rather lie to her and protect her and not involve myself with any level of radical honesty that I think this experience kind of requires. And so it wasn't me being offended that he wasn't attracted to Aria, because I know he's attracted to Aria. It's more so I just felt like, why aren't you able to be honest? You know what I mean? I think Mariah is stunning. Why can't I say that and just be like, hey, she is stunning and that's that. You know what I mean? Why couldn't he say, hey, she is beautiful. We do have a connection. And I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to navigate that and be better for Mariah. It was more so like, we're friends. Like, I feel the amount of times friendship got brought up, I was like, you're like, I can tell that it feels like a bit of a mask. Like you're trying to overexert this friendship sort of narrative, even though it's not that.
Maybe that was just like his final answer. And like, I've had a lot of beautiful women be my platonic friends, and we've had connections and we've been very close, but ultimately we were just that. We were just friends. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, you know, maybe he did think she was beautiful and maybe he did have a connection with her, but maybe he was just trying to say at the end of the day, I'm not pursuing her romantically. I just respect her as a human being, and we are friends. And maybe it was more like that.
I think it's possible. At the same time, you know, there's 12 of us that are doing this experience, and they're, like I said, you're seeing a fragment of a moment. And I will say this, there's no way that I would have called that out to Caleb if I didn't have several reasons to believe that, okay, there is an interest here on your end that you are maybe not being completely honest
Is
about.
that
Maybe
reason from your girl telling you that Caleb had an interest in her? Because she seems very convinced that Caleb is hiding his feelings.
I'm sure Aria did feel that way throughout different points. Like it definitely felt like maybe Caleb was holding back a little bit. I am someone where I want to be honest with someone and tell them like, hey, you might be telling me this. This is what I'm seeing. Let's have a conversation. So for me, it was a little strange because I felt like Caleb was like, hey, you should go talk to Aria about that. Like, I want to deflect any conversation. Like, I don't really want to meet the moment. Like, let's not talk. Let's not have a dialogue. And so for me, that kind of was a bit of a sign, like why we're here at Guys Night to speak to each other about each of our connections. Everyone went around the room and was able to share a little bit about the connection that we had, except for Caleb. Like, he was very limited. He was very short, and he only referenced friendship. And so I think for me, I was just like, okay, is this BS or is this, are you just
So he was giving
not able?
he was giving cagey kind of thing. He was just...
I think he just was like, this is my answer and I'm not going to elaborate under any circumstance. And so for me, it's like, if you really have nothing to hide, why do you not care to elaborate at all? You know what I mean?
Will say that Caleb and Aria's relationship did seem the most surface level from a viewer standpoint. It didn't feel like there was much physical attraction, or like maybe they didn't show that to us, but it did feel like obviously we have Sandy and JR, which is like off the charts and the, you know, on a completely different level than everyone else. But even like you and Zaina seem to like very much have this really good banter back and forth. And Caleb and Aria seem a little like awkward and uncomfortable with each other. Maybe that friendship is there. I mean, again, I don't know. We're not there. But what is this whole story behind this like hall pass thing that JR brought up?
I was very surprised at the way JR chose to bring that up, because we were actually starting to get to a more conversational place and less of a combative place. And so when he turns to me at one moment and he's like, "Are you sure?" And I was just so taken aback by that, because I was like, am I sure about what? Like, of course, you know what I mean? And so I know that, you know, as far as my connection with Zaina, like, it was definitely very present. But at the same time, you know, I know the respect I have for Aria. I know the respect I have for my relationship. And I wasn't going to put my relationship at stake because I wanted to explore something with Zaina super early. Like, the guys' night happened relatively early into the trial marriage. Like, it wasn't, you know, it wasn't like week 3 that was happening. And so to me, it was important to check that behavior. You know what I mean? Like, JR was throwing shots anywhere and everywhere. And I was like, look, you have to, I know we don't know each other, but you have to understand, like, I don't really have any intentions of trying to manipulate a situation for my benefit in the way that you think. And I think it was a little bit telling that he just refused to say who told him.
Did you ever find out?
I mean, you know, I can't answer that. You got to keep watching the rest of the season. But I will say, like,
so we do find out. we do
Okay.
find out?
There will be a lot of truth revealed.
Okay.
Okay.
All truths will
All truths
I
will be
can
revealed.
guarantee.
Okay. If I were you in that position, I'd been like, well, I didn't say it, but your actions are giving hall pass, bro. You know, like that's what I would have
Yeah.
said. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, we had that conversation with each other. I think, like I said, like that room was a very tense room, and I think there was so much pent up emotion from all of the guys that it kind of was released in this very sort of combative way. You know what I mean? Like even Nick, like he was so apologetic, but there was a moment too where he was like, "So what are you doing? Are you sleeping with her? Like, are you not?" You know what I mean? And so it's like when you put people into an experience like this, everyone is going to have a moment where they are not necessarily the versions of themselves that they would be if a similar conversation was happening outside of this experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. I don't know. I sometimes I think almost the opposite. Sometimes I think we really find out who we really are when we're put in really in extraordinary situations, and how we handle ourselves in these extraordinary situations really kind of shows who we are at our deeper roots. You know. That being said, we understand the edits and the context things. I'm more speaking about JR. To me, it's just like JR made the excuse of leaning into this experiment as reason to basically disrespect anyone in his way, you know, so to speak. It was more like, this is my experience. Everyone's got to do the experience. So it's just like, I don't care who I disrespect as long as I'm embracing this experience. You know, there was just no consideration for other people's relationships as long as JR was making the most of his experience. And, you know, to each their own, but that's just kind of how I saw it.
yeah, I mean, I think you're spot on. Like I said, everybody approaches it differently. Like I think JR was focused on JR at the time. So,
Do you think JR and Sandy slept together?
ooh,
Because
asking the hard.
I mean, the way
It
he
sure
answered, he
looked
was like
like
in the
it.
same bed. Yeah, like
I mean, it's pretty clear that if they did, they wouldn't be telling anybody.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is the thing. I think our entire cast had an opinion about whether that happened
And that
prior
opinion
to.
is
Yeah. And so I think for me, at the point that I was at, I knew that even before, you know, I saw the show myself and saw the edit, I knew, okay, some things went on here, because I think there was maybe a level of defensiveness that you might not have if you did nothing, right? And so
Mhm.
that's why I said about my connection with Zaina, hey, like we're developing a connection, but I'm really working hard to do it without disrespecting her and without disrespecting her relationship. And I know that, you know, she's trying to prove herself to JR. She's trying to be like, yeah, I can be this person, and I know you're hurt and I know you've been hurt before, but let me show you that not all women are out here to hurt you, you know? And I think it's a very interesting paradigm to Aria, where it's like, I'm trying to fight for her and be like, hey, not all men are here to hurt you, you know? And so I think that, I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure if they did. I know that
no. We asked you
there
what
was a
you
very,
think.
Yeah, what's your
What you
opinion?
think? We want to know what you think.
I think I think Nick was really, really broken, and I don't know that he would be as broken if there maybe wasn't some other stuff going on. I
I
don't know
think
what
they
went on.
did.
Like,
I think they did as
you
well.
think that,
I think they
Yeah.
did.
Do you
Yes.
agree or disagree?
You're not saying you disagree.
You're not saying no.
y'all are really trying to get me to
disagree.
hurt some feelings today, huh?
We just want to listen.
Um,
Like, you know, like you said, this is all about keeping it real, being honest. You know, like, this is embracing the experience. You know, like we're just asking your opinion.
Yeah, you
know.
obviously aren't in the bedroom
We
with
don't,
them,
you know,
so
but
like,
like you got, yeah, you could be
At
wrong.
guys' night, my opinion was they didn't.
they
At guys'
didn't.
night.
At
That's what
guys'
I'll say.
night, has
But
that
that-
opinion changed?
I think they have a very sexual relationship.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, it took us a while, but we did get
I think
there.
we got there. Okay. Scotty, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it. We wish you the best along the way. Appreciate your answers, offering some context, and excited to see the rest of your journey unfold.
And if we can give you any advice, stop reading comments about yourself on this show.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's been devastating. Also, I want to say one thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
I do want to bring up the argument that Aria and I had, because I know we didn't really talk too much about that. And I do just want to say, I think the hard thing about that moment for me to watch was how I just did not show up for her in the right way. And I love Aria with my whole heart. That was possibly like one of the most hurtful things for me to do, is just gaslight her and dismiss her feelings. And I'm still hurt by how I just didn't show up for her in that moment. And it's so hard for me to watch. And I feel like I'm really having like a hard time emotionally right now, just because I know like there's a lot of online commentary and hate about it. But I will say, like, I think the hard thing for me is, Nick, I watched your sort of mini recap of the Ultimatum prior to meeting with you all. And it did make me think, because you had a very different perspective than I think most people that are watching right now are having. And it's really tough, just because I think sometimes I'm fighting for a woman to see that I'm not the man that she loves the most, but I'm like the man that she hates the least. And I know that she's had so many difficult and hard experiences in life that have made her kind of guarded and closed off. And so I really know that I hurt her in that moment. And the only thing I can really do is take accountability and tell her how much I love her, and show her that, that was the worst possible reaction of me trying to respond and just not showing up. Like, I should have approached that situation with love and not for love. And so I think it was like me trying to convince her, like, hey, I love you, I'm not going to really hurt you. And she's like, but you did. And I'm like, aren't you seeing who I am? And she's like, no, you hurt me. And so I just think it was really, really hard to watch. And so I just hope that, as far as the commentary goes, like, there was obviously a lot more to that debate. And I don't think it's as magnified as, you do see on screen. Like, nobody else in the room was like actually hearing what was going on. But at the same time, we all have to be accountable in this experience for a lot of different things. And I couldn't end this interview if I didn't share that I just didn't show up for her in the right way in that moment. And gaslighting is never acceptable. And I think that in that moment, I don't even know why I said what I said. I just was like, hey, like, I don't know, I didn't do it. And I was just like, that was just not the right way to show up.
Well, we appreciate you sharing, and all you can do is take accountability. And yeah, like that's what matters more than responding to all the people who are online who don't really know anything other than they're just watching it and projecting their own life experiences onto you and the people on your show. So, but that doesn't mean you can't learn from your experience, which it sounds like you have. So we appreciate you saying.
Absolutely.
All right. Take care, buddy. Thanks for your time.
Thanks so much.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Finding the perfect gift can be pretty overwhelming. You always want to make sure you're giving the gift that people actually want. Quince is the perfect spot for timeless gifts made from premium materials. Quince offers luxury clothing, home goods, accessories at more affordable prices by cutting out the middleman. With options like their cashmere sweater or leather jacket, you'll stay cozy all autumn.
Also, Quince's basics are incredible. Sweaters, overshirts, cardigans, whatever it is you need for the changing seasons, you can be certain that Quince has it with a premium feel. No matter what you're looking for, all Quince's items are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. Quince's iconic Mongolian cashmere sweater starts at $50. That is unheard of. That you'll never find that anywhere else. Super soft fleece sweatpants are a major upgrade for lounging, and the packable puffer jacket is perfect for anyone traveling.
Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices, along with premium fabrics and finishes, and they use premium fabrics and finishes for their luxury feel in every piece. Give luxury this holiday season without the luxury prices. Go to quince.com/VIALL for 365-day returns plus free shipping on your order. That's QUINCE.com/VIALL to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/VIALL.
Dreamland Baby creates award-winning, gently weighted sleep solutions to help babies feel calm, fall asleep faster, and stay asleep longer. All parents know that better sleep for your baby means better sleep for you, and Dreamland's Baby's weighted sleep set is designed to keep your baby sleeping through the night. We have used one for River since she was, I don't even know,
Born?
2 months. We have used one for River since
Most of her life.
for most of her life. We have used one for River for most of her life, and honestly, it truly does work. We've traveled and we haven't had it, and we've really struggled. So we love Dreamland Baby. They are weighted evenly throughout the shoulders to the feet. It has a two-way zipper, so for quick diaper changes in the middle of the night, it is super easy. The tagless design avoids any sort of irritation, and all of their products are made with quality materials that hold up well in the wash. It uses 100% soft and natural cotton.
It's great. We love it. She sleeps great. She loves it. Easy to wash, easy to change. Can't go anywhere without a Dreamland Baby sleep sack. Go to dreamlandbabyco.com and enter our code VIALL at checkout to receive 20% off site-wide plus free shipping. This offer is for new and existing customers. Again, that's dreamlandbabyco.com. Use our code VIALL to receive 20% off site-wide plus free shipping. All right. What do we think?
You know, listen, he definitely took accountability. I think his take on Caleb is wrong. And I think he wants to believe that there was something there so bad. And I just don't.
Yeah, it's
I
like
don't think
I've had a
was.
lot of friends who are women who objectively are beautiful.
I think Caleb's just doing his best, but I understand. I mean, like, Scotty obviously feels a certain way about Caleb because Caleb has a connection with Aria, and that's like hard to deal with. I do think I agree with you guys, but I understand why he feels that way about
I get what he's
Caleb.
saying about that. Like, if they're showing up to this like man chat and it was
Yeah.
Nally was like, we're watching it. Nally's like, there were moments throughout these episodes, the willingness to talk shit on their partners, like their original partners, not like their temporary partners, but like they're just like unloading, just like. Well, so-and-so is, I don't know what they said about each other, but it was like some hardcore shit, you know? And it's like clearly they're being asked these questions. You know, there's obviously probably producers in the background. These guys get together, they're sitting there and go, so like, how is about, you know, like, tell us about your, you know, so they're being prompted to ask these questions. I get that. So in that context, if they're all being prompted to ask these questions and they're kind of like reluctantly, begrudgingly, or maybe not so reluctantly, like just talking shit on their partners and just being unbelievably honest about what the shit's going on. Meanwhile, Caleb's like, we're just friends. Like I can see how in that moment to Scotty, that might be a little frustrating and feel disingenuous. I could see that.
Yeah, it's like when Aria was talking to Mariah, and I feel for Mariah and Nick so much. It's like, you know what? If Nick and I, if I was like, hey, Ultimatum, like we're going, you know, and we go on this show and 2 days in, Nick's girl leaves, like, sorry, I'm leaving with my partner. Like, we're 2 days in. Like, the experience is fucking over. So sorry.
She's
so
like,
the fact
no.
that these other partners are staying and being like, well, we signed up for this, like, just shows me that they are into their other people a little bit more than they probably should be. But when Aria's having that conversation with Mariah and she's like, he's so funny, he's so kind, he's so this, he's so
like,
goofy. And I love that I can say that he's goofy. I'm like, girl, I don't give a fuck.
Oh, no,
like, that's my man. I know.
When she was like commenting on like how they fight and like what hurts him, like as if she knows him so well, I was like, the way I would have jumped across that fucking table.
Yeah.
No,
She's like, the way that
wild.
you act in the relationship with him, like the way that you get upset. Huh? Why am I hearing this from you?
Literally.
You've been with him for 3 days. Like,
Exactly.
I'm sorry. I just can't. And like JR explaining his relationship with Sandy to Nick, and poor Nick is just like.
Poor Nick. He's just pouring himself. He's just trying to make an art piece, and then Sandy's like, "Why is he doing art?
Oh my
like,
God.
That's his career.
He's like,
he's
what
an
a fucking
artist.
loser.
He's
Like-
the only creative here." He said, "Sorry,
Like, sorry, isn't that what artists do when they're like, let me take my emotions
he has
to the
nothing
canvas.
else to do."
Well, and don't you think Sandy will feel like an ass when she comes to find out he also boxed?
So true, so true. He was doing many things.
He was doing-
I cannot. That
To
like,
watch him scream and cry into his bed, I was like,
I felt for him
someone
so
help
bad. That
this
was
guy.
that was emotional torture. That was
awful.
mean. Like,
Yeah.
But then it's like-
if Sandy doesn't watch that back and think
no.
yeah.
I
The
have
way
some
that-
horrible person inside me.
The way that
She is.
he was having that full-on mental breakdown and then was like, you know what, fuck it, I just need to talk to her. Like, I'm putting myself in like this you know, like how I am with Nick. And it's like, okay, like Nick's having this hard time and he's like, you know what, I just need to talk to Natalie. And I'm like, sorry, no, like don't fucking disrespect
No,
me and my husband like
she
this.
hid
She's
the-
laughing.
She's laughing in the room
She
while
called him selfish.
Well, she sends,
Selfish.
No,
so
she said
she
she was
sends her
violated.
fake
So she-
boyfriend to answer the door so
Yeah.
he could be like, in this big fucking guy who like is like, what are you doing here? And then she comes out and like calls him disrespectful.
I just feel violated right now. Huh?
No, that was wild because it's like now it seems like you're like sicking this guy on your boyfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like this is the part of the show that's really confusing for me because I'm like, are they supposed to be leaning in and getting lost in this relationship, or is the whole point? Because even Sandy lied to Zaina, being like, "No, I'm just teaching him things so I can give him back to you."
No,
and
you
be
were
great.
not.
And I'm like, y'all were kissing at the pool, in the bed. Like, this is not something that's going to help my relationship.
Y'all were kissing before he even chose you at
Yeah.
the fucking choice.
And we don't know the
Let's-
timelines.
No,
but,
no, no.
yeah.
That was before the choice.
Okay.
It was
Yeah.
clear. That was before. And we're just conveniently leaving that out on our girl chat with Zaina.
Yeah.
Sorry, she's not a girl's girl. And I'm going to go ahead and say it right now. Sandy is not a girl's girl.
No, but-
and this whole relationship with JR and Nick just feels so icky.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm like, she's giving you the answer you're looking for. Because at the end of the day, like, yes, I understand it's an experiment, but if that were my partner, I would be like, okay, just like give me like 5 minutes. Like, let me go like talk and like,
yes.
at least ease his mind about what's
Mm.
happening or make a decision. But I'm like, she's like disrespecting my time. And it's like, girl, that's not your boyfriend.
And then she sits down for girls chat and is just throwing Nick under the bus
Yeah.
even more. Like the
She hates
embarrassment
him.
she wants him to feel
yeah.
It's awful.
is awful.
Yeah.
It is
Like,
cruel.
I also, even when like Nick called her and she has it on speakerphone in front of JR,
Mhm.
like that disrespect right
Mhm.
there is like, you couldn't be
She's
like,
giving us the play-by-play on how many texts he's sending.
it's
He's
awful.
losing his
It's,
mind.
Yeah.
it's so sad. Like her running away from outside when they're having lunch and
Yeah.
she sees, and she's like, oh, I can't. And she runs inside. Like,
What are you doing?
I cannot.
Like,
with
how
her.
are you just like that soulless?
I-
like to watch that, okay, we don't know what happened in their relationship prior.
No,
we do not know what their dynamic is.
I want to know how they got on the
But-
show.
They've
Yeah.
been together for 2.5 years.
Yeah,
Two
so
and a
like,
half years is a long
who
time.
knows like the minutia of like the arguments that they have and like what their problems are. But to watch somebody that you, regardless of if you're in a relationship with them, somebody that you just have spent that much time with for 2.5 years.
You're saying
to
I love you.
Watch, yeah,
You're living together.
You live together. You love this person. To watch them be that miserable and just like be disgusted by it
Yeah.
and be
it's-
embarrassed by it versus like this is somebody that is going through a really hard time. They're alone while I am like, if not getting railed, really giving fuck me eyes to.
No,
like,
they're shutting that bedroom door quite a lot.
we saw his ass, correct? Was that a
did we
black
see
and
You
his
certainly
ass?
know that it has cologne all over it.
That's true. Did I misunderstand where there was like it looked like a black and white like security cam footage of him closing the door and it looked like he was naked.
I don't know. I mean,
I mean,
he
I would
shut the
put it
door
past him,
regardless.
but we're
He
shutting
did.
the door
with both of them on the
and-
other side of it.
Yeah, it could have just been an edit thing. I
Caleb
don't
is sleeping
know.
on the couch. So
Caleb
that's enough
is sleeping on the
Yeah,
couch.
of a contrast.
It's like, come
Yeah.
on. I mean, and
but
then
just
and
to
then
watch Nick, it's so
like
mean.
they're at least cuddling, you know?
yeah,
with their
and he's
clothes off.
whispering and being like, "I'm so horny."
They did kiss. We know
I'm so
that.
horny.
Like, are you
They've
kidding
kissed
me?
twice
Yes,
for sure.
on camera.
And the way that when she put that dress on and he's like, "Ooh, you can't go out like that without me." Huh?
You're
She's like, "It's
trouble.
just for the girls." Huh?
It's been 2 days.
Yeah, the "you're trouble." We've talked about this before.
Yep.
You're trouble. They're fucking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're fucking. You don't say that to someone that you're not fucking.
JR's the definition of hurt people. Like the fact that he's the guy who's quote unquote been cheated on and he's the one who's like been broken by his ex-wife or whatever, for him to go about it this way.
On television.
It's like
I mean,
he
sure.
could have had just such a different approach. And if like he would have been so much more respected, if like in these moments he would have been like, Sandy, like you should go talk to him. He clearly like need, like
Yeah, like what we're doing is crazy. You at least need to like show up for this guy.
But he has no sympathy for him either.
No.
none.
Like that's what's so
No,
crazy.
he's peacocking. He's like,
Yeah.
is it because it's me? Like, is it's not bad enough that you're like some guy is like literally in bed, whether they're actually fucking or not, like in bed, but like you want to ask him directly of the question if it's because you're so awesome. Like clearly, yes, he is threatened by you, but you don't need to like lean it the fuck in. And like we all can be threatened by somebody, JR. And I can't imagine, I don't think JR, Mr. Counting Calories, weighing his food, so insecure with his body that he has to do crazy shit like that. He's fucking measuring lunch.
He wants to bring
Like-
his weight to the restaurant.
Yeah.
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 That is a person who definitely has their own insecurities. And if JR was put in a room with his girl hanging with someone that he thought was a personal threat to him, I would love to see how JR would handle something like that. Because I don't think Mr. like weighing lunch would handle it all that well.
Not at all.
Yeah.
It's so hard to watch. I mean,
That was wild.
Wild. I have a theory on hot people
okay.
of like when you're that like JR and Sandy
tell
are.
me about me.
I love it.
JR
You're like,
and
give it to
Sandy-
me. And Natalie was like, okay.
No, there's like you have like normal hot, right?
Uh-huh.
Like there are like hot people that look like normal human beings,
Uh-huh.
right? And then you have like hot people that look like they were made in like a CW factory
Mm.
to like
Which
you
one?
know,
scientifically made. Yeah,
scientifically
yeah,
made
yeah,
in a
yeah,
lab.
yeah.
All I really
Yes,
care about
yes.
is which one am I?
Well,
Kidding.
you're like normal hot. It's like it's much better to me.
you're
Boring.
scientifically made. You're
Boring.
scientifically made.
Sorry.
Alright,
You were
thank you.
made.
But,
in
like,
a-
JR and
Sorry,
Sandy
you
are
were made
both-
in a lab.
Okay, thank you.
I'm serious. You're
Sorry.
one of a
We're
kind.
interrupting Mary.
JR and Sandy are both made in a lab, and I just do not trust either of them because of that. You know what I mean? Like that kind of
I
hot.
hear you, but you know, the personality makes them absolutely a 2.
Viall.
Yeah.
Like they are.
But that's what I
are-
mean. I feel like when you're that hot, you just expect to be treated in a certain way. Like JR completely expects people to not trust him because he's so hot, and he wants that because he wants to be that hot that people don't trust him. And Sandy does too, and they're leaning into it.
They are leaning into it.
Oh, they're leaning in it so much so that I'm like, I just wanted to smack him too when he was like going around talking. He's like, it's just, I'm really confused right now. Like, it was like, this is not
No,
a
you're not.
choice
No.
for you. This is an experiment. So you end up with the same person.
Yeah.
You seem to be forgetting that. But I'm like, I don't know. And I feel like I expect men to fight more physically than I do, obviously, women. But I am like, I don't know how Nick kept it together because if I had some
Well,
girl
he
being
didn't.
like, no, but like
Yeah, he
I'm
did
saying it
have
in
a
the
mental breakdown.
in the guys night situation where I'm
yeah.
like having a guy who's with your
He's
girl,
a lover, not a fighter.
but being
He
like,
got cucked a
she's
little bit.
she's
He
making me
did.
into a better person than I was. You all known each other for 2 days. What do you mean? And if this is you as a better person, I'm shocked to know what you were like beforehand.
Also, Nick, I don't think you really love Sandy the way you think you love Sandy. I think you love.
How hot she is.
The idea of Sandy.
Yeah,
And I
like
think-
keeps your stock up.
But they
I
have
mean,
been
like,
together
when-
for 2.5 years.
When you get disrespected like that and you apologize after the fact, you need to take a step back and reflect and maybe do more boxing. Like
yeah. Well, it seemed like
I
Sandy
feel like
is,
the reason
into
he
him being
apologized is
embarrassed.
because Sandy
she
was like, you need to fucking
she
apologize to
gaslit
JR.
him.
You disrespected us.
Yeah.
You brought me here. This is the experience that you made
Yeah,
me do.
100%.
You need to
100%.
apologize or I will not be back.
at some point,
yeah.
Nick needs to wake the fuck up
I know.
and take accountability for, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if Sandy is like the world's greatest like mentalist, you know, where she, no matter what she says, she's gonna convince Nick that she's right. And I mean, at some point,
Oh yeah,
you know what I'm saying? At some point, Nick can be like, "This is crazy."
But he
this
did
is crazy.
He did say that it's not all one-sided, that she's texting him like I miss yous and things like
yeah,
that.
but that came across to me as like, I'm sure Sandy did at some point say, "I miss you, and I hope
Oh,
you're
I
doing
miss
okay."
you.
But like that to me sounded Nick trying to justify, like that actually felt very like Nick was really reaching for any validation in his like dying relationship.
I'm just wondering though if it's like the whole like what's being said to him in text messages. Obviously it's speculation, but I'm like that it's like, oh babe, like this is just an experiment, like whatever, like don't take it as seriously. Whereas like what she's saying with JR and like whatnot, and then the actual like him showing up at the door, like how did he get their apartment number?
Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. That doesn't add up though. If she is saying, well, babe, like let's say she's texting Nick, right? And it's like, babe, it's not that serious type of thing, then why is he apologizing very seriously? That doesn't match. I think it's more she was just like, hey, you're fucking this up for everybody else.
Yeah.
I mean, literally at the girl chat, I mean, I'm actually surprised how many people left. Granted, like 2 couples pieced out, but the
Yeah.
people left, other than Nick, are like, quote unquote, buying in. And like, it's a lot easier to buy in when you're kind of feeling new feelings for someone new. So it's, you know, like you're
Right,
kind
right.
of, but Nick's person's gone, right? And Sandy shows up and is just throwing Nick under the bus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and I think she told him that he's ruining it for the rest of them. He's embarrassing himself. He's embarrassing her, blah, blah, blah. And Nick was so scared of
losing her
that he
Yeah.
showed up and apologized to AR. I don't
So,
think it was
JR.
because he realized he was like,
in the wrong.
this was all a joke and he wasn't like taking the joke well enough. I don't
Yeah.
think that's what he was apologizing for.
I think he was just embarrassed, and that's why he was apologizing to feel less embarrassed.
But Sandy made him feel like he did something wrong.
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh.
And like you could tell the second that Nick was like, there's been a handful of I miss yous. JR was like, what the fuck? Like, you know, that was he like.
But a handful of I miss yous sounds like a guy trying
to
validate.
like
To
if I would
validate
like,
it,
you know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Like I wouldn't say like about his girlfriend. About his girlfriend, he says there's been a handful. That's vague. Of I miss yous.
Yeah.
That's all he's got. It's like, yeah, well, I'm fucking her.
Yeah, the
It's like-
concept of the show is just so confusing.
crazy.
You guys think this is great? If you had watched the Queer Ultimatum,
was it that much more
crazier?
messy?
yeah,
my head would explode?
Were they fucking?
yeah.
They were all fucking.
Not all of them were fucking, but some of them were fucking.
Any U-Hauls show up?
I mean, you'd have to watch the show. I don't remember.
Okay,
Can we get into Salt Lake City because this episode had me gagged.
please.
I first
What is roster building hair? What did they call it?
High body count.
High
body
count
count hair.
I mean, I get what they were saying.
High body count dress.
I will say Angie K owns salons, so she is an educated person in that department.
yes, she is an educated
It was
person,
a bit
and
harsh.
Lisa being like, you do need a Kerastase treatment. Like that had me absolutely fucking
I
gagged.
died.
I was screaming.
I
like-
use it. It's good.
I mean, Brittany, I love her. I just want to, Brittany, if you're listening, I love you. I love you on my
She's
television.
incredible. You're great.
Thank you so much for showing up and knowing how to be there.
well,
And I'm holding space for you.
Yes.
But
I
like
felt power.
I absolutely. But
in
Brittany does look like she has not done any type of like wardrobe like reset since like her club days, since like she was going out when she was 20.
I do have to
21.
say, do y'all know who does Miss Brittany's hair?
No.
Our
Who?
Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, Jesse's.
No. No.
Yes.
She does her hair.
I don't know if Jesse specifically, but someone at Jesse's salon
Should we
does
text
her
Jessie?
hair. Huh?
Should we text Jesse?
I think
Well, I've seen TikToks of them doing like before and after of these extensions, and they, I will say, like, love you, Jesse. Her salon's getting a little trolled on social media.
Wow.
Along, like kind of being compared to the hair by Crispy.
But isn't that what
You
you
know what
asked
I'm
for? Like, if I show up and I say like my wife wants me to have a mullet, they're gonna give me a mullet. Maybe Brittany's like, give me 1988.
It's possible. I don't think Angie was necessarily wrong with her assumptions. I'm not in
Angie
the
called
business.
Britney's hair pornish.
I'm not in the business of slut shaming, but that
As a housewife, that seems an appropriate comment.
Yeah, take your little bump up and walk away.
the bump up that I feel like her coming after Mei Lee was like whoa, that
Out
was
of
a little too
pocket.
far.
That
It was
come from?
awesome.
That was a little too far. But and Brittany, listen. Brittany's the one who's like, I have a roster. I'm seeing several men.
She did
I'm
say
doing
that.
Yeah.
these were Brittany's words.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did be
Angie's
saying
using
that.
Brittany words against her. And then wants to be like, I think the reason Angie's saying I'm fucking 10 men is because that's what she's doing in her marriage. Whoa.
It's
Shots
like
fired.
Yeah. Brittany said how many men she's dating to a bunch of Mormon, Greek, Jewish married women. Most importantly, they're all going to be judgmental and catty. Yeah. What did she expect? And
Yeah.
then to like make up a rumor about Angie.
Yeah. It's
What?
like, sorry, but like that was
Rumors and nastiness.
it's like you kind of asked for all that, Brittany, with like the way that and it was like she tried to say that to Mei Lee and Bronwyn of like she felt powerful in that moment to be like, well, you know what? I think the only reason she's saying that about me is because that's what she's doing in her marriage. And they were both like, whoa, I don't know if that's where we
Maybe
need to take
I will
this.
chug this.
Yeah.
And
Also, Bronwyn coming for the bedazzles on the nails, and Lisa being like, that's a bridge and tunnel.
Bridge and tunnel. Have you ever heard that expression?
I haven't, but I'm gagged. But also,
No, I died for it though. I was like, okay, what the fuck does it
It's
mean?
what the people in Manhattan say about the people like the bridge and tunnel people, like on the weekends. Like it's like, oh, I don't want to go out tonight on a Saturday. It's going to be all the bridge and tunnel people from Jersey going out to the bar. So like the real New Yorkers, like we only go out on Wednesday because there's going to be no bridge and tunnel
but
people.
I'm
Got
sorry.
you.
I'm sorry, Bronwyn. You're coming for bedazzles on nails when your eyes are covered in bedazzles.
She's in her villain era for
what
sure.
are we?
Yeah.
Like how can you?
I'm
come
going
for
to
that.
ride for Bronwyn no matter what.
Same.
She's literally being like, oh my god,
Bronwyn started all of
bedazzles
this.
on nails. Like what the fuck? Meanwhile, like can't even see her eyeballs
Yeah, but
because she has so many bedazzles
But
on
I bet
her
if we had
eyes.
Broadwin hair, she'd been like, yeah, I was being a hypocrite in that moment. I know she would. She
I'm
would own it.
sure. I'm
Yeah.
She
sure.
was just
But she
starting
didn't
shit.
say
Yeah,
that
she's
on the
just
show.
like, at least she would. I just like, that's what I want Lisa to do. I want Lisa to be like, I say shit. I do shit. I say shit. Whatever. It's when Lisa just pretends.
I've never lied.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like,
But I think the beauty of Lisa Barlow is the delusion of Lisa Barlow. Like she would not be Lisa if she didn't lie.
She was kind of cracking me up with the Whitney, just like wouldn't let Whitney get a sentence out. She's like, "You're lying, you're lying, you're telling a lie, Whitney." And I was like, for some reason, I'm
Yeah.
living for this right
And then
now.
Heather being like, I don't care. You've said all of this stuff to me to my face.
She's like, "Lisa, I'll choose your side no matter what, Whitney. You don't even have to waste your breath."
Yeah, it's fine. But pornish is really
Yeah.
what made me laugh.
Meredith having security at her bat mitzvah.
Security.
She was waiting for this
Callback.
moment.
Even better than the security is Angie going, I'm 100 pounds.
I
You
weigh
don't need
less
to
than 100
escort me."
pounds.
Like, okay, skinny legend.
Does
I'm
she though?
sorry.
She's tiny. She's
She
short.
is.
little, yeah.
She's very small.
But it's like, okay, what a slay of a comment. Like, I
I
weigh
stan
100
her.
pounds. You don't need to escort me out.
yeah.
I don't know. That's
Her
what they're there
throwing the
for.
napkin.
Huh?
I don't know that's what they're there for.
They
What do you mean?
definitely weren't security.
You don't think they're real security?
No.
No,
Those are the caterers that she was like, security, grab them out.
Big dudes.
Those are
They
pretty
were
big
big dudes.
theaters.
Yeah. They
Those-
looked like security guards.
But
Yeah.
remember Meredith's whole like Palm Springs thing when she wanted the restaurant to like escort Angie
had the
out?
waiter.
Oh, yeah,
There's part of
yeah.
me that feels like she hired security
Security
solely just in case.
Angie
that.
needed to get kicked out.
There's never been security at like any other event, and she was like, "Security,
Oh my god.
this one out."
Also, how fucked up of producers to allow
Mary.
Yeah.
Mary
They set her
to
up.
be so vulnerable
know.
and talk about such that conversation with Robert Jr. and then to like let her wander around this building looking through.
Because
The windows.
you know, someone could have been like, "That's the entrance,"
That's
and then
the
they call the
entrance,
producers
girl.
being Mary's going through the back. She's going through the back. Pull the cameras.
but like instead they're like try to open up the window right in front of where they're reading the Torah. But also her conversation with Meredith, I
Yeah.
loved that. It was so
I-
real.
For just a brief moment, my girls are back together. And
The
that
girls
makes
are
me
back
very
together.
happy. I don't imagine it'll last long.
The girlies
but,
are girling.
But the girls are girling, and it was very sweet. And congrats, Meredith. Sorry your event got kind of overshadowed by a high body count hair. But
It made for one of the. I don't even know if I
I
can even
love
say
Angie.
one of the
Maybe
greatest
one of the
episodes
greatest
season.
episodes
it
of
was
the
a great
season.
episode. Like, and
Yes.
Brittany, you cannot be offended. You literally called Angie a slut 20 minutes prior.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, you can't be like, a victim in this moment.
also, maybe the most iconic bar mitzvah ever.
Oh yeah, I mean somebody cried, and I just love that she kept going around telling people like I was told I have slutty vibes.
she did call her
No,
slutty
I had-
Brittany.
Slutty Brittany, I have a slut vibes.
Angie did go too far though. I feel
she
like
definitely went
She-
too far.
you made
I
a grown
think-
woman cry at a bat mitzvah.
That's Angie Katzenevas.
Why is Meredith doing this at this stage of life?
Because she never did it prior to, and
Yeah.
it's important to her now. And she did say that with things that are going on in the world right now, that
Yeah,
it felt
yeah.
important to her. So
Okay.
She wanted to reaffirm her
Why
spirituality.
I'm just curious. Why didn't she get it done when she was
12.
sure? Is that the normal age?
Yeah, 12 or 13.
Did she convert to be Jewish, or was she always Jewish and then?
She said it's because she saw it more of a culture versus a religion or something. She had some way of.
okay.
She's
Anyway,
taking
she's
more-
doing it now.
Yeah.
she's into it. Okay.
She did enter on a sleigh.
She did enter on a sleigh.
she did.
She did enter on a sleigh. And Todd scolded Bronwyn again. So there was that. It's not an episode without a scolding from Todd.
Heather was giving side
Yeah.
eye.
Did
she
you?
should.
There was a really
I would have been giving
cute
side eye too.
Instagram post from Bronwyn though of Todd looking really, really happy. I guess Whitney found one of the Starbucks mugs that Todd didn't have. It was like Times Square, and it's him with this mug, and he looks so overjoyed and happy.
Oh, that's
It was
sweet.
really cute.
For the
I
man
feel-
who has everything
I
that
feel
can
like-
afford
Includes everything.
everything.
I feel like Todd's being misrepresented. I think he's a little curmudgeon-y.
I love Todd.
I do too.
I like
Yeah.
Todd. You know, I think they're catching him in moments where he's just kind of like,
I think it is not my place to speak on Todd and Bronwyn's relationship dynamic, and I love Todd and the way he presents in the show
but
is
Braun
just
seemed to
not
love
liking
to
it.
love him too.
Yeah,
so.
exactly.
Yeah.
So like,
I just think it's a
not
man
my
who
problem.
was not made for reality television,
Yes,
and I
it's
think
awesome
he's
that he's there.
he's shocked seeing his wife behave in a way that she obviously wouldn't for like work events or anything else that they would or social events with their actual friends.
Mhm.
But like at the same time, like Bronwyn has to keep up with women that are calling people hair slutty pornish, whatever.
Pornish.
That I'm like, if she's not defending herself or if she's walking away, and even then she tried to walk away, and Angie was like, "Don't walk away. That's cheap."
Yeah.
Yeah, Angie's apology was not an apology at all. So and I probably would have walked away too if that's what
The way
I got.
Bronwyn tried to be like nice about being like, is this where the apology comes in? And then Angie matching her energy with like, I think I'm owed one too. And I was like, nope. I would have been like, okay, we're good. We're good not being good.
Now we're starting to realize how Angie's getting that center snowflake.
Center
We are.
snowflake.
She worked for it. For
I've been saying
sure.
it.
Also, I feel like we're kind of seeing like lack of Whitney. I was like, Whitney had the one bit about Lisa's lie. We haven't heard one thing about Alibaba since. She also never denied Alibaba.
She's collecting evidence.
And then
We know she's bringing Monica up soon. She contacts Monica. We know that.
she's got to fight for some airtime because I was like, were you even in this episode? Lisa shut her down the one time she tried to start some shit.
Didn't Monica
Yeah.
have something to say?
She did have something to say. After this episode, she posted on her story and said, "All I'm going to say is this. If that were me and I were screaming the word dick over and over, talking about someone has porn hair and slut-shaming someone at a freaking religious event, y'all would have my damn head. And miss, I don't like people that are nasty to women just standing there laughing her damn head off. Wild." Okay, talking about Lisa?
Yeah, Lisa was cracking up throughout Angie's.
These are
She was.
Yeah.
They're
These are
valid
facts.
points.
these are
Yeah.
valid points.
These are facts.
Yeah.
These
They are. I
facts.
think the only reason that it's okay that Angie went the way she did is because Brittany did
Go after her husband.
go
her
after
marriage.
her relationship and husband 20 minutes beforehand in like the most out of pocket way. And like Brittany is the one constantly being like, I have a roster. I'm seeing
Yeah.
10 men. I have 3 men. I'm fucking 6 men.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like you're
I also think Angie is just so funny that it worked. If she didn't say high body count hair, high body count dress, if
Yeah.
it wasn't an incredible read,
I don't think that was Monica's
wouldn't have
point, though. I think
landed.
Monica's point was just like, regardless of why I said what I said whenever she said it, Monica, being they always had a reason of coming for her.
yeah.
And they like, anytime Monica did something, everyone just conveniently ignored the context that caused Monica to say whatever the fuck she said,
Oh,
and then just
totally.
judged her on the things she said in that moment. Meanwhile, we're all doing the whole thing. It's like, well, but then she said that.
Monica was the one who actually said that Angie's husband was gay too.
Yes.
So that's why she's speaking out, because she's the one who originated.
Yeah,
that dude.
and we know Monica is as guilty as all of them. But
Yeah.
like Monica,
oh my gosh.
What? Mm.
Sorry,
Breaking news?
I'm going to quickly go back to Ultimatum.
Oh.
I posted on my story today. Also, OMG,
Mm-hmm.
the Ultimatum is crazy this season. Everyone must watch it right now. And I just got a DM from Sandy. OMG, don't judge me too hard, girl. There is so much tea behind it.
Oh,
After I literally just said she.
Well,
I said
listen,
she-
Sandy,
I just called her soulless.
Sandy,
So
Sandy?
Sandy.
I said I don't trust her because she's hot.
We look forward to having you on.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
But like we
right now, we
you
don't have
don't-
your side
do
of
not-
this.
you
We
don't
don't
look
have
good.
the context. And right now, you aren't looking great.
Yeah,
So,
It's looking rough.
yeah.
do I
Yeah, we can't-
respond?
Sure.
Oh.
Don't listen to this episode.
Hey, Sandy, don't listen to anything I said. Or do.
Listen, I hope.
don't
I mean,
care.
at least to Scotty's defense,
Yeah.
whether we believe his answers or don't believe his answers, he showed up at least recognizing
Yeah.
how objectionable some of his behavior was. And Sandy, if nothing else, I hope she
Sandy's making great TV.
Yeah.
I'll say that much.
can recognize how it is viewed.
I said, "Oh, girl, don't listen to this episode." She said, "No, ha ha ha, fuck my life."
Yeah.
I said, "We are excited to interview you and get context and your side, but this batch did not paint you in the best light." With the emoji that's like,
Well, I don't know if she
Sorry,
painted
girl.
herself in the best light. I mean, like, you know.
Yeah.
No, well, of course.
It doesn't sound
she
like
said,
the next few is
"Bitch, it's
great.
so bad. I'm so upset with all of it."
Oh, well, you
well,
know,
I would be too. You know,
I mean, I really am curious how, in fact, so like, you know how the show, I think the show is basically going back to Ultimatum. It was like, so-and-so gave me the ultimatum. And the implication is like whoever like gave the ultimatum is the one who like dragged their ass
They
onto
both
the
wanted
show.
to go on the show.
So that's what I'm saying. I really want to know the truth is because these individuals as couples showed up together. Someone had to give the ultimatum. We've learned this from previous seasons that the ultimatum is kind of like, so who's giving the ultimatum? And it's kind of like, well, I guess I am because I'm the one who wanted to get married. I think it's more like that. And I think it's convenient that the people who has levied the ultimatum gets to use that and weaponize that against the person who gave the ultimatum.
Yeah.
I don't know if that is the case in this situation, but I'd be really curious as to how Sandy and Nick together as a couple decided to do the show.
Yeah, I'm very curious on, and I think the second batch will show what Sandy and Nick's relationship dynamic is, because we really haven't gotten to see it.
Well, she said, my ex
So-
was also doing so much to me that's not shown, which is why I seem so disconnected from him. I mean, it's definitely not shown. That is for sure. Whatever he was doing is not
what could he have been
shown,
doing?
because all we know is that he was like texting his
Nick does
girlfriend of
present
2.5
red
years.
flags. I will say Nick does
100%.
present a lot of
Yeah.
red flags.
He's putting his frustrations into his piece, his art piece.
Yeah.
I know.
And he's boxing.
And he's not taking it off on anyone else.
I
He just
know.
wanted to chat with her.
There is a world where Nick is like very much just in a relationship with Sandy and objectifying her, and like does not
Yeah,
treat
arm
her well
candy.
because
No,
of that.
100%.
Yeah.
And we
So,
will get her
like,
side
yeah.
when we interview
Maybe the next batch will show.
her.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
All right.
sorry, that was just.
So Sandy, if I was really mean to you, like don't take
No,
that
I
personally.
no,
I think
I
you're a slay, and I
actually-
do think you look like Megan Fox.
She's like, honestly, that's all I needed to hear.
Southern Charm.
Southern
God, Southern Charm.
I've become obsessed.
My favorite show is back. And
It's your favorite show?
out of all of them, and now that we don't have Vanderpump Rules anymore, and even then the last couple seasons weren't that great. Yeah, it's between Summer House and Southern Charm, but Southern Charm I've been watching since the beginning, and I love.
So Olivia's been given the boot.
Yep.
It's like, all right, you won't talk to Taylor anymore.
I mean, no mention of her whatsoever.
It's
Of
like a
Olivia?
new timeline.
Mm.
Oh,
Olivia.
yes,
She like
Olivia.
never existed.
Yeah.
There wasn't even a goodbye. There was like, oh, we used to. Nope.
No.
But you just have a girl that Craig used to sex with, which is kind of
Yeah.
funny.
Who is like into Whitney, which like, what is the draw with Whitney?
Money.
Whitney's so scary.
Whitney-
He's so scary.
Which one's Whitney again?
Whitney's Miss Pat's
Son,
son.
Lisa
and he's
Vanderpump's
the
son.
creator and producer of the show.
He was a rock star, right?
He still lives at home with his mom, but he
Yes.
dates 20-year-old models.
He lives at home with his mom.
Yep.
How
Yeah,
old is
but
he?
he built a bar in the last season at his mom's house so that they don't have to go out to the normal
Wow.
bar.
I
Have
don't
you
understand the draw to Whitney, and I need like I get he has money, but a lot of people have money. I mean, come, let's at least find someone who is a little bit like.
He's a producer, which means storyline, which
Oh my
means you
God,
can stay on another
yes.
season.
Insured job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So are you a bigger loser if you live at home with your mom or if you got projectiled from an ATV, told this dramatic story for the doctor to tell you you're fine, but you're walking
Listen,
around with a cane?
I
his
understand
name
why
again?
JT is
JT.
not brought
I
back
hate
for next
him.
season.
I kind of like him.
It's enough.
I didn't like him.
He did say he tweeted something a while ago that he didn't, like he left the show halfway or he would never go back. Do you remember this?
He said that, but then he was obviously there for the promo day for photos and
Yeah.
whatnot.
He also
so.
leans into loser. He leans into like,
Victim.
yeah, I'm not good enough, and
He
it's
may
like,
be
no,
Southern,
you're not.
But he
You're
doesn't
not
have
good
the
enough.
charm.
Well, when he says that he wants to have a conversation with Austin and he's like, I'm going to take the high road here and just be like, hey, I almost died. No, you didn't. I don't care if you're toxic. I'm good now. Life's too short to have beef. Like, you tried to fight this guy drunk, intoxicated on top of a bar stool. Like, you made a complete idiot out of yourself.
Wow.
And Austin's the one that you want to be like,
Is it getting weird that some of these? I mean, and I say this as someone who's getting older, but he looks old.
Who?
JT?
JT?
Yeah, he's giving 50-year-old man on Southern Charm.
He looks like Tom Cruise to me.
Mm.
Well, Tom Cruise is
I
70.
don't know. Well, did you say it's weird that there's a 50-year-old man on Southern Charm?
It's
Is
just,
that
it's
Chef?
just more like he look. It's just like
well, that's how it started. Like, so
they all, they're
I
all
watched.
like they're just like he's holding a cane. Is
Yeah,
Well, that's because of his injury.
He's
No,
38.
he's
Dude,
38.
he's
Well, it's like the insane thing. So I watched
he's
this episode
38?
of Southern
That's
Charm.
crazy.
I had never seen an episode before. I fell so madly in love with this show that I texted Ciara, and then I was like, I have to start from the beginning, don't I?
Mhm.
And so I did. No one told me it starts off with a disgraced 50-year-old congressman who just hangs out with these kids and then gets a 21-year-old woman pregnant in like the first 4 episodes.
Oh, it's a wild ride. And that's why I love this show so much, is because nobody is performing for the cameras. This is an original group of friends, people who actually know each other.
Yeah.
And anytime they bring on new people, they're all really connected. It's not like somebody I went to college with 20 years ago that moved back. Let me give them an opportunity. It's like, no, you
No.
all know JT. You went
No,
golfing
it's
with
like
him.
the girl I
Yeah.
sexted with.
Yeah,
Sierra, do you think Vanita is performing with JT?
absolutely. I mean, I don't think she's performing. I think Vanita actually is one of the kind-heartest characters
Same.
on that show. I think JT's a piece of shit for leaning in because I don't buy him. I just think he got a bad rap the last season and now he's going to take this sweet girl and be like, no, maybe I kind of like you. I don't buy it.
Did we get any interaction with Craig and Molly?
No, because they said they've never met in person. They only sexted online. So this is like their first time being around each other in person.
Was potentially very vulnerable. Being like, what did you guys say to each other?
Yeah.
Like, what?
They said photos.
Yeah.
In videos.
Yeah.
Videos.
Molly said videos.
Yeah. Was there movement? Was there looks? Was there like one-liners?
Yeah, I don't know. Shep, opened up about how he did not do any therapy at all, but he did go to Costa Rica and do ayahuasca. So
And then send Taylor something really nice. A
text that she did not receive because he is blocked. But, I kind of, sorry to anyone who's done ayahuasca, I'm over it. I just go to therapy like a normal person and not like, why are we fixing our alcohol drug problem with like drugs? Sorry, that feels wrong.
I mean,
I don't know.
ketamine therapy,
Well,
Well, ketamine is a drug.
but it works.
Yeah, but sometimes
Sure.
the
It just feels like,
mushrooms.
I mean, I guess. Did it work with Jesse
I was
on
gonna
the
say.
Valley? But
Ayahuasca in tandem with therapy.
Okay, well,
Potential.
Jesse's not a good example.
You know?
Potential. But I don't know. And then Shep's like, yeah, so I like go to the gym and I like don't drink as much.
Yeah, I don't drink as much. Is definitely like the Bravo
Yeah.
way of getting sober.
Bravo
It seems
sober.
like
Bravo sober.
not drinking as
Shannon
much.
the door. Yeah.
Not drinking as much.
I'm just not drinking as much. I'm not getting like blackout anymore. I'm just getting, super fucked up.
Yeah.
I don't know. I
Bravo
didn't realize,
sober is
obviously,
really
I hadn't
funny.
watched this from the beginning. So, like, seeing the flashbacks of Craig was very jarring.
Yeah.
I love Craig.
Craig is somebody who you watch grow up on this show. And like, I like love him now. But back in the day, he had a lot of growing and learning to do.
He also has had quite the glow up.
He's handsome.
He's a very handsome man.
Congrats, Paige DeSorbo.
I mean, those
And congrats,
flashbacks
Craig.
were
Actually, yeah. I like
flashing.
I feel like maybe like more like thank you, Paige.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's what
Right?
she said.
And then congrats,
Yeah.
Craig.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. You're
Yeah.
right.
Mm.
But as of now, they're a very hot couple.
Yeah.
I will say that.
Yeah, Craig was the one that everybody made fun of because he sewed, and they were like, what are you planning on doing with this? Built a pillow empire. He also didn't pass the bar, and everybody made fun of him for that, for lying about it. Then he became a lawyer and opened up a practice, and now he's opening up a bar. So, like,
He's very successful.
the man
Wow.
is,
And a conspiracy theorist.
yes.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh.
He didn't think pandas were real for the longest.
Well,
Like conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Yes.
sometimes one thing started as conspiracy theories and they end up being facts. That happens a lot too.
Listen,
So
as long as you
true.
own
Yeah.
it.
Like the
okay?
moon landing.
Yeah, the jury's still out on that. Paige has a really good part in one of their shows, and she was just like, you mean to tell me I can't get Wi-Fi in parts of Charleston, but we streamed the moon landing to everybody's homes in their
Exactly.
living rooms? How?
Stanley Kubrick is very talented, but is he that talented? I don't know.
I don't know. We did get a preview of the next 2 months.
Yeah, what
whatever
happens
that
2 months
was.
later? They get, I don't
JT
know.
being accused of calling Pat the C word
The C word.
is insane.
Already,
He's
I
gone.
believe it.
Yeah.
He's gone.
He definitely did.
Nobody goes after Miss Pat.
She's got a bubblegum gun from the first episode I watched.
Bubblegum pink gun.
Mm-hmm.
Things you shouldn't give an older person.
Okay, but it
pain.
matched. But in the episode I watched, she got like a very rare pink alligator skin Birkin to match her gun.
There's
Oh,
a scene of her
obviously.
eating Burger King in a Rolls Royce.
Mm-hmm.
You've
I
seen this
love
before.
her. Oh my gosh, she's like the Swan Princess Vanderpump. Swan Princess Lisa Vanderpump.
I don't totally understand her role on the show.
Miss
She's
Pat?
Lisa Vanderpump on
No, I
Southern
get
Charm.
it.
I know. It just
Don't know.
isn't. Yeah.
Well, Austin has a new girlfriend.
Pook's
Audrey.
monster.
Little Pookie monster. Also Pooks, Pookopotamus. They've been dating.
Which do we feel like we need all that? I feel like Audrey works.
Listen,
I
don't
hate
need to
the
be
word
let into your
Pookie.
bedroom.
Where did that come from?
I don't know. I don't
What?
like it.
Pooks,
Like
Pookie.
Pookie, like this pet name that everyone gives
That's
like
like
this
a-
anonymous
I think it's
partner.
that viral TikTok couple.
No, it was before that.
But I'm like, I feel like Pookie
But, like,
became
people
like
have kinda
10
co-opted it,
times, yeah,
you
more
know,
relevant.
like, now it's like, wait, you have a Pookie too? I don't
Hawk
How
Tuah
many
had Pookies.
yeah.
are
Yeah.
there?
Yeah,
Oh
there-
yeah.
If
It's
you guys
like-
want to know one of my icks, it's the word Pookie.
I'm not loving it either, and I'm not loving it mixed with animals.
No.
A Pookie-potamus? like A hippopotamus is cute as it is.
If somebody called me Pookie Bodymus, sorry, I said that.
Pookie Potty Miss.
Yeah, the way that you said that.
Miss Pookiepotamus.
It's Pookie Bodymus, I would immediately break up.
Yeah,
with
I
them.
don't. That's
Like,
kind
that's
of giving me an
done.
ick.
The word
Yeah.
originates from 1900s in Germany as a term
Germany.
as a term of endearment for children, and then it was used
Pookie.
in the 1960s as Garfield's teddy bear was named Pookie,
Slay.
and then now we know it from
Okay.
TikTok trends.
Okay.
Something I thought that was interesting was Craig's opinion on Shep's drinking and how he kind of said, like, your drinking affected my business, which I don't know. I find that to be really true because I feel like I've gotten rid of friends in the past just because I'm like, your behavior is so destructive and there's no talking to you and it continues on. Like, do you think that it's selfish or the right thing to do to distance yourself from somebody where you feel like their negative bad habits are bringing you down or like your business or affecting the way that
Well,
you
how are
interact?
they affecting his business, I guess? Like,
I think he's saying it's like reputation wise, he's showing up blacked out at BravoCon. He does not have a great track
I think
record.
if it's like time after time after time after time after time, then it's like completely valid. I think like giving up on a friend,
yeah.
like giving up on Shep, like after his first blackout, you know, like that's okay. Like
And
that's
it's
not
like,
a friend.
did
Sorry.
you
Let's like,
sit him down before he kept showing up and like saying, hey, you can't show up like this? Did you set any like healthy boundaries like prior to like alienating him? Or
I will
like...
say there's 9 seasons of Shep's destructive behavior to back up Craig.
yeah,
for
so
feeling
then
the way that he
that's
acts.
valid at that point.
I get that,
you
but
know?
like you know, it's like, do you accept it? Do you accept it? Accept it? You go along with it for 9 years, and all of a sudden you drop this bomb, being like, hey, you know, like I don't know. It's just like an interesting approach to like addressing like a decade problem.
A decade problem plus like, yeah, years of friendship. But I'm like, I also like, I've had a friend that like when she would drink, she would get like completely destructive, not even be able to like maintain, but somehow still be able to get angry and use like language to where it was like, oh, if I'm your friend, why are you talking to me like this? And then not take accountability for it the next day. That finally I just got to a point where I was like, I'm done. And that was a 5-year friendship.
I mean, it's valid. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think at the end of the day, everybody has the right to protect their peace.
Right.
So I think it gets more complicated when you're on a show and share a contract together.
There
you
is
know?
that. But do you think that if they didn't make the decision to stop talking to him, that he would be so avid about cleaning up his act? Because now his 2 best friends
Yeah.
are distancing themselves from him. Because they did say that at the reunion last season.
Oh, maybe. I mean, I just hope that it's like if he has a real problem, like they're having like serious, real conversations with him outside of making a television show.
Right.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, we'll see. The season looks good. You
Yeah.
know,
The season
so
looks
does Ultimatum.
so
Everything out right now is
Yeah, go
giving.
catch up on Ultimatum if you
Yeah.
have not watched it. Yeah, it is toxic as fuck. But you know what's not toxic? Our conversation with Riley Green, and that is tomorrow. So be sure to check out that Going Deeper episode. And then on Thursday, we have the very wild and talented Michael Rappaport and Fortune Feemster joining us for a wild episode of Reality Recap. You will not be able to stop laughing. I can guarantee you that. That and so much more heading your way on the Viall Files. We love you. What topics did we not get to today that we'll be talking about in Viall Files Plus on Friday? Hey guys, if you loved what you listened to, make sure you hit that subscribe button below. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.